right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our special Monday night President's Day, I guess, stream. Hope you guys are all doing well, ready for another great week. Hey Joe, welcome. Switch over from my bard to my chat. Happy birthday, Presidents. Hey everyone, welcome. So if anybody remembers from last time, I finished Baldur's Gate 3 and it was like 5 a.m. and I did not have time to properly process really anything that was happening. So tonight we're gonna do a little two-parter. We're gonna do, oh wait, let me bring up my little character so he can be present. While we're talking. We're going to start the stream tonight talking about kind of an endgame discussion for Baldur's Gate 3. I got a tier list prepared because, of course, I'm always all about tier lists once I finish a game. So we're going to do a tier list for the characters that we ran across, including our companions. And yes, I know you're waiting for that. You might not be happy about the results, but that's okay. And then after we have our little Baldur's Gate discussion, we will switch gears and do a watch party for the Dungeons & Dragons movie. You may have noticed, if you were following me, that I did a little test stream randomly the other night just to make sure, because I've never done a watch party before, and everything seems to be going fine. So I'm going to we're just going to do it live and see what happens. I'm looking forward to the movie, though, because I haven't seen it at all, and everybody's only said good things about it without spoiling me, so I'm excited about that. But, yes, so let's start things off. Let's have a little chat. So many differing things that are running through my head. First things first, I will say, man, what a fucking game. Huh? Like, holy shit. I know the past couple of months we've been going through all the very many BioWare games and exploring them again, talking about them in depth, and that's kind of set the stage for the kind of game that this was about to be. But nothing could have prepared me for what Baldur's Gate was. Like, I assumed it was, you know, a Dungeons and Dragons thing. There's some romance in it. Maybe some, like, combat, whatever. And I think my expectations were, like, too low. Because once we started playing, I was like, the animation for the characters is great. The characterizations are so solid and unique for each companion. The plot line, while a lot of plot and stuff was happening, was a compelling one and an interesting one. And there's just an abundance of stuff to do, to the point where I was like, Jesus, how are people doing multiple playthroughs of this game when I literally put in, let me see what my GOG account says. I put in 243 hours in just this first playthrough, which is insane. Amazing. And you'd think once you do that, you're like, okay, I'm fucking done with this game. But now I'm just excited once we finish our big Final Fantasy VII sprint that's coming up. I can't wait to do the Dark Urge run. Because I know it's weird. It's like you know the future. Now that you know the events that are going to come to pass, the new challenge is, how can you fuck with that, knowing what you know? And as people were telling me in the chat, they were still finding out different things that I was doing that they never did in their playthroughs. So who knows if I might stumble across different ways of doing stuff or different quests entirely this time around. It's so many hours. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not sure if this game has even gone on sale yet. You know, usually what happens with games is that you do the first, month or so of full price, and then after a month or so, it drops discounted to some degree. But this one, I think has stayed the same price throughout, and to which I say it's an incredible value. There's no need to fucking I mean, if you want to discount the game, sure, but usually people feel like you discount the game once like everybody's had their fun, their fill of it, and it's like, okay, now you just gotta desperately get in more people. But like, there's so much that this game offers. I think it's only fair to pay the full price for it, honestly. Like, they clearly put so much work into it over, I mean, the early access itself was what, like 3 years? Insanity. But yes, so I was very pleased with it. And I think, as we talked about this last stream, there were only a couple things that kind of irked me. The Karlach thing definitely was something I was like, come on. But then Will came in the 11th hour and kind of solved the problem. I don't know if that normally happens, where he offers to go to Avernus with Karlach, but it's like, okay, I'm glad she actually gets a reasonably happy ending, all things considered, because prior to that, it really felt like, oh, yeah, I'm yours, yeah. So, the Dungeons & Dragons movie, the one that has Chris Pine in it, we'll be watching that after we do I finish our little Baldur's Gate 3 discussion, which is happening right now. Hopefully there's no spoilers for you. But yes, that'll happen a little later in this evening. I'm probably not going to talk too long about Baldur's Gate tonight. I don't think I will. We do have a tier list that we're going to do, so there is that. But welcome. Yeah, so Karlach's situation, I was glad that there was a reasonable outcome. I feel bad for Orpheus. I feel like maybe I could have done that differently. But it seems like the only way you do it differently is if you become an Illithid. Or Illithid. Is it Illithid? Illithid? Whatever. You become a Mind Flayer. And I didn't want to become a Mind Flayer. And it wouldn't let me make anyone else a Mind Flayer. I don't know who else I would make. My assumption, if you do the origin stories, like play as one of the companion characters as the main character, is like you could force them probably to be a Mind Flayer. I don't know who would be best suited for that. Maybe Gale? Although I wouldn't want to do that to Gale. And the game, speaking of Gale, the game on 2 separate occasions kept bringing up the fact, like, we do have the orb. We could always use the orb. And I'm like, no! I think in all of my dialogue selections, I've been pretty clear, like, I don't want him to use the orb, and I want to find another way. And it just still, it couldn't help itself. Fucking narrator was like, and as you're looking up at the giant spine of this necro brain, well, not necro brain, nether brain, whatever, you can't help but think about that the orb is still in Gale's chest. I don't care that it's there. And he looks over like at me like, is there something you wanted to say? I was like, no, there's not. I don't want to say anything about that. I was fine with Karlach's ending, if only because it shows that not every ending has to be 100% ideal. Yeah, so like, she's there, she's in hell with Will, but they seem like they're kicking ass. And in the epilogue, there's even that hint that they found one of those infernal forges. So it's like, hey, maybe she could actually find a way to fix her engine properly. So they definitely give you that out, which is, you know, generous. Where they leave it ambiguous, yes, but it's ambiguous with the promise of being able to properly give her a good ending. I want to have Gale use the orb in my next playthrough. Oh, man. I can't do that to him. I mean, what's funny is I did do that to him in Act 2. I definitively remember it was like, hey, there's the option to use the orb. There's no way he'll actually do it, right? And then he did it, and it blew up the 3 guys and the brain. But then because we did it then, it immediately made everybody with a tadpole manifest into a mind flayer. So it's like the narrator tells you, like, that's probably not what should have happened. So I find it really hilarious that they let you do that, though. That they actually let you say, like, yeah, if you want to use the orb now, okay, do it. I'll be playing as Gale in that playthrough. Oh, well, you know what? I'm kind of curious. Despite not being able to have a physical voice when you play as the origin character, you are controlling them. So I wonder if some things might play out differently because that character is not beholden to how that character normally behaves. You can make them kind of act out of character, basically, by whatever choice you make. Like, you could make, I'm assuming if you're Astarion, you could actually play as a really generous, kind Astarion from the get-go. It's like, oh, I'm just a victim, you know, and not with his sassy, chaotic self. So that's kind of interesting. As part of what I want to find out, how it plays this one. Yeah, so, like, I would be very surprised. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'd be very surprised if they hardcore hold you to only what they would say. They probably have to give you at least a couple of those dialogue options that, like, push outside that boundary, you know, just for the sake of letting you have an influence on that character. So there was that. I feel like the thing I want to try when I do the Dark Urge playthrough is, out of the three of the big bads, obviously we can't deal with Orin. Although if you're Dark Urge, maybe she likes you more. Don't answer any of my questions. I'm just realizing I'm talking out loud. Don't spoil it for me, but I would assume being a Dark Urge character makes your relationship with Orin a little bit different, because you're both probably going to be like killing fiends, right? Hey Coda, welcome. But Ketherick seems like he's always just in his own head. I don't know if there's any working with that. Gortash, however, I'm sort of curious about, because Gortash initially sounded like he wanted to work with us. I didn't want to work with him, but as a Dark Urge, maybe I could see what that's like. So there's the possibility there, which would be kind of cool. I think... Yeah, he definitely seems like the most, not malleable, but maybe the most easy, not easy to negotiate, like the most willing to negotiate, whereas the other two characters are very firmly put in their little slots. What was the other thing I was going to say plot-wise? I know a lot of people always ask, like, what was your favorite mission or quest and what was the worst? When I was looking on Reddit, a lot of people really hated that haunted mansion. Oh, shit. Uh-oh, wait. I have to
Astarion, you made me save another orphan? Fine. But if it happens again, I'm taking away your cursor.
Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like Astarion is gonna, as an origin character, is gonna be very out of character, probably. Thanks, Crimson, for the sub. Appreciate it. You're on a 9-month streak. Holy shit. Thank you. I'm assuming you've also... Was it you, Crimson, or somebody else that was in the process of trying to beat the game yourself as well, so you didn't want to get spoiled? Orf10? Yeah, he said it a little weird. The AI voice thing sometimes pronounces things a little strangely. The haunted house was weird. It was funny as hell. It was funnier with Ghostbusters music. I didn't mind it so much. I was okay with it. Although a lot of people, that seems to be their top #1, like, hated quest. I liked the Iron Throne a lot because it was very different. Oh, you caught up? Awesome. Okay, good. Yeah, the Iron Throne one was cool because it's like you had a timed number of, a finite number of moves or turns. And just the tenseness and the whole, you know, hey, we got to rescue all these people and get the fuck out of here kind of vibe was different and interesting. And it felt like there were actual consequences, which is why I wanted to make sure I didn't fuck it up. I don't know if... Let's see. Everything else was pretty darn straightforward, I think. I also know that I seem to be a little infamous for doing things out of order accidentally, because I'm such a curious person that likes to explore unnecessarily sometimes, that I kept finding elements of a quest without either starting the quest or being in the right part of the quest for that area. So it's like I found the hag in Act 3 before I even talked to the victims of the hag, and I killed the hag, but then that kid that was inside the hag's stomach, I didn't know what Hag's Bane was, so I didn't get that in time, and the hag barfed up the kid, but the kid was dead because they barfed it up, I guess, in the wrong way. So that was funny. I kept wandering into like the back entrances of secret places where other people were like, hey, I went the complete opposite way to get into this spot. So I thought that was pretty funny. So there was that kind of quirkiness unintentionally of how I ended up playing the game, apparently. Iron Throne was my fave, fun, unexpected, and I feel like you seldom have to really use all your powers to the limit like that. That's true. I had to be crafty. And thank God I had those dimension doors. There's one thing I learned about like halfway through the game is the first half of the game, I was doing everything aggro. It was like projectiles, explosions, like I didn't really care about support spells and cantrips and stuff. And then around, was it Kethric's fight? I started realizing like, oh man, I am going to get creamed if I'm only doing aggressive shit and I'm not like keeping the party up or like keeping mobile. So I started adding like teleports and misty steps and all kinds of stuff. And oh, God damn it, I'm glad I did that. Because if I didn't have any movement ability during Iron Throne, I think I'd be fucked. Without the misty steps and the dimension doors, somebody was going to die. Even with all of that, I still was on the last turn when Astarion caught up with Omaloom. But fortunately, I'm pretty sure Omaloom was purposely so far out that that's why they gave him that unique ability that just lets you teleport right back to the ship. Or maybe because so many people couldn't save Omaloom that they did that. Yeah, Misty Step is amazing. Once I realized how cool it was, I think almost everybody in my party has some kind of Misty Step or movement like bonus. Like Gale could just do it all the time, which is great. And I think even Astarion has like one or two that he can do. Because what's funny is Astarion doesn't use spells very much in my playthrough, but he does have that invisibility and Misty Step that I actually use pretty often for him. And then, okay, as somebody that never played the previous two Baldur's Gates, I like Jaheira a lot. I don't know if I necessarily, like this will go into the tier list section as well, but like, I'm not sure I super liked Minsc. I kind of liked him, but he also felt like he was sticking out like a sore thumb compared to some of the other characters. Like, he's really goofy. I didn't really know where he fit into any of this stuff. I noticed he wasn't even in... So Jaheira was in the last push, where it has all your allies in that last level, but Minsc isn't there. So it's like, I guess he doesn't give a shit. So, like, I thought they were paired up. This is just Jaheira. So that was a little weird. Or maybe it's just because she's tied to the Harpers and he's not, I guess. Minsc is very one note. He felt more like a Dragon Age NPC. I didn't want to say that, but we have run across NPCs in Dragon Age that are very like, look at me! Here I am! I'm doing jokes! Like, and sometimes it's funny, and other times it's like, it almost feels like they're trying to steal other characters' thunder or something. But I've already been established with these other characters for the entire game. And I don't want this 11th hour character to push himself into one of the slots that I usually have like my cherished, companion character in. So I didn't even level him up. He stayed like 10 HP level 1 all the way through. So I don't know. No offense to, was it Matthew Mercer who did the voice? I think he did a good job. He clearly did it in the way that they were directing him to do it. And I'm assuming he's just that goofy normally in the previous games. I don't know. It's good to save him and then just put him in the corner. Let him hang out with his giant space hamster or whatever. And just leave it at that. But yeah. I would say you could have left him out of the game. Maybe not Jaheira. You could have left him out of the game and you'd never even notice, honestly. But overall, I really liked it. I felt the Emperor was kind of weird in that I might be wrong, but I know that they went through different stages of development, like with certain characters and certain plot lines, and they went back and forth. I feel like at some point, maybe we were supposed to like the Emperor more or something? Because we're on this like teeter-totter back and forth of like, maybe we can relate to him. No, he's just an asshole. Maybe he's okay. You know, like kind of thing where it's like, I wonder at some point if he almost was, like, for example, romanceable or more relatable, or like there's a different outcome for him, perhaps. Or maybe I just didn't do that and you actually can do all those things in the game. But I never knew where I stood with him. I always was kind of defensive by instinct. And I just could not, I wanted to trust him at one point, and then he just could not prove himself to be trustworthy. Hey, Fake Yen, you're welcome. I had a hard time wanting to use Minsk the way Rangers were made in D&D, which 1 and 2 are, these are much different than 3, so it felt kind of wrong. So is his Rangers just play differently, I guess, in 3? Oh, yeah. So last stream ended up being really long, and I stayed up till like 5:30 in the morning just to play the entire thing, because we got a certain point there, and I was like, I'm not gonna quit here. When we're so near the end, I feel like Indiana Jones's dad. Why are you resting when we're so near the end? I had to push on. So if you check out the VOD, which I have on my channel, you can catch all the chaos that happened, which is really funny, by the way. So like, if we're talking about the last bit, where you can send in like allies or whatever, I think the Yrgir thing must have been a glitch. So I called in Yrgir for the first part of the fight. He straight up died, went to 0 HP, and then we went to one of those we went to that tendril station, the one that fully recharges everybody, and something about the station actually brought him back to full health and back to life. Which I don't think is supposed to happen. It says in the descriptions when allies die, they die. So he came back to life, and he kept sticking with us every time we advanced to different areas. Did you happen to summon? So here's the thing that was disappointing. I summoned Dame Aelin, and she didn't do shit. Half the time I was just trying to heal her, because for some reason the first time I summoned her, either she got stunned or something. She just didn't do anything for her first turn, and she almost got hit to like 10 health. And then so I was wasting all of my bard healing, keeping her like at a normal health level. And then that first fight was over, and then she left. And I was like, well, fuck it. I guess I'm not bringing you back. Well, I mean, she was fine. It's just that she didn't come back in the fight. Like, I guess I would have resummoned her, but I didn't want to waste an action with my characters resummoning somebody that was probably like somewhat weak. And what's funny is I did summon that group of headhunters or whatever, and they were so useless, but they ended up keeping all the tentacles on the brain busy. So it actually kind of worked out. Yrgir and the hunters kept all the minion shit busy while we were worried about making it to the portal. So it actually weirdly worked out. And then Yrgir so I had Yrgir throw his little grenades on the floor, which blow up after like one move. For some stupid reason, and I clipped it, the Emperor flew and sat on top of like, he chose to position himself on top of 2 of the bombs, like in their radius. And when they went off, he instantly died. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess you're just that bummed that you have to work with the necro or the nether brain, that you're just kind of, I think he threw in the towel. So, to be honest, allies are there for meat shields. That was why I called out characters that didn't have actual names, the Gur hunters, because I figured if they die, I don't really care. I don't want the named characters to die, so I was kind of hesitant to bring those guys out. Let's see. Sorry, gotta go back. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is the system 1 and 2 use. 3 uses D&D 5e. Oh, that's the current system, right? Rangers are different than how they work. I feel like she's a meme for not doing stuff at this point. Oh, Dame Aelin? She's so cool when you bring her out. I almost wanted to, and maybe I'll do this for the Dark Urge run. I kind of wondered what would happen if I did bring her to Loroacon to see, like, don't say what happens if I do, but like for Dark Urge, maybe I'll bring her with me and see, like, is she useful at all? Or does she just get sucked up by Loroacon or whatever he was planning to do? I feel like she must have been nerfed at some point because every fight I used her in, she got steamrolled. She was getting hurt more than Yrgir was. And so that's why I was just pumping a bunch of healing spells into her. Everybody else in the team was doing their part during that big battle, except for her. So that was kind of disappointing. Yrgir could deal more than 1d8 per turn. He was really holding back. So he was the worst when I couldn't control him. When I actually had access to all his abilities, he was far more useful. Although I was watching somebody basically bitch slap Raphael, and their Yrgir for the first turn actually did a whole bunch of useful stuff. And I was like, well, maybe I just was unlucky with my AI Yrgir in the Raphael fight. I don't know. I avoided the owlbear and Zeb. Yeah, I didn't want... Oh my god, I forgot about the owlbear. There's no way I would want to get that little owlbear hurt. Are you going to do increased difficulty for your Dark Urge? I don't know. That I have enough time to think about that. I like not having to worry. Like, I don't do easy mode or whatever, but I like not being frustrated by a difficulty spike and just kind of enjoying the story. So we'll see how things go. Like, I did do a harder difficulty for... Is it Dragon Age or the Mass Effect games? For one of the sets of BioWare games, I like upped the difficulty just to see, and it was fine. I don't know how much more difficult the next stage up of, what was it, Tactician, I guess? If it's noticeably more difficult than regular difficulty. But I'll see. I'm not saying no. I'm just not sure right now. Yrgir never did anything nice to me in House of Hope. He kept getting in the way. I mean, he's a good meat shield for what he is, so that was fine. Set up a globe of invulnerability and he literally shoved us into the hellfire. Oh, I never used that. I was actually thinking for the invulnerability thing, like maybe in the next playthrough, I might try to utilize that spell more. Because I'm probably realistically going to do the same approach that I did with this one, where I love Astarion and Gale, and they're very useful. So we'll do the same, like, musical chairs swap with, like, that third slot, where we'll bring in, you know, different characters. I want to maybe mix up who we bring in the next time around and see if that changes things. But, yeah, full disclosure, the next time I play Baldur's Gate, it will be Dark Urge, and I'm going to try to romance Gale. Although, he's a good guy, so I'm guessing I'm going to have kind of a hard time. So I'm gonna have the same difficulty I had with Astarion initially, where he was just disapproving every fucking thing that I did, until I got to a point where we kind of met at the middle of the road and things kind of worked out okay from there. What class will you be as a Dark Urge? I don't know yet. I really like Bard. It might be like I just pick a different multi-class with Bard or something. I can't help it. This little guy, oops, down here, my Drow Bard, I love him so much. I you know, Bard maybe isn't the most popular class, but like, I really enjoyed it. And I don't even know, it's not a particularly strong class. I think it's just the versatility I really enjoyed. Because you can have your heavy hitters be like the companion characters, but I don't know. We'll see. That's one of those things I'll be thoroughly scrutinizing when we actually get back into it. But yeah. Bard is so popular because it's... wait, it is OP in higher difficulties? Well, you know what? I also might pick a different, like, subclass or whatever of Bard, because I feel like I didn't get enough out of the whole swords... What is this? The swords subclass or whatever it's called? It was okay. I might pick one of the other two classes. Bard is the most popular class. No, I don't think... I think people are saying Paladin is actually the most popular. Or at least according to the stats. But then somebody had a fine print message on the stats that said, those are the classes people pick first. So everybody might pick Paladin first, and then later go like, oh, I don't like this, or something, you know. It didn't say that that was the most picked that they stayed with. So I wonder if there's a different stat for that. Clerics and druids are the least used. Druid is weird to me. I know in potential it's really cool. You turn into a big thing, you pounce on people, you do the extra damage from the jump. Maybe it's more situational or something. I just could not get into it. I wish I actually used Halcyon more, so maybe that would force me to understand the druid class a little bit better. Hey Sahuki, welcome. Or Seihuki. I keep thinking there's an L in your name, which there is not. Welcome. Cleric was my first class. Apparently it was the least popular. I could see how Cleric would be really useful. I was tempted actually at one point, because when I was using Shadowheart more, she started kind of leveling up a little bit in my eyes, like when she was getting some of the higher level spells, and I was like, oh shit, the radiant stuff is doing pretty well, especially against undead, obviously, but we're coming across a lot of undead monsters, so it came in handy. Yeah, she goes crazy. Like when I was getting those beam cannon kind of shit that she does, and the little spirits around, and all that stuff. Like when you start comboing some of those things, it's like it starts getting really crazy. Plus, she has all the heals too. I don't know. So speaking of Shadowheart, I don't know if I'm gonna make her go to Shar in the Dark Urge run. I mean, that would be the expected thing. But that would just make me feel really bad now that I see like what she's like with her parents and not under Sharan religion anymore. So we'll see about that. I don't know. I think I just feel awful. I don't know if I can do that to her, even if I'm a killing machine. Druids are the best class in the game, but yeah, it's very specific playstyle, summon oriented. And for example, I never played a sorcerer, so I don't know how a sorcerer varies compared to a wizard. I certainly understand wizards because I was using Gale a lot, and they're broken as fuck, apparently, when I started doing some of those like level 5 and 6 spells. But, hey Desmar, yes, I did finish it. I did. Spore Druid, but I wish part of its kit had more range. There's somebody else, I think it's Skeletora, one of the other streamers, that does like a Spore Mage? Maybe it's a Druid? So I've seen some of that in action, which does look pretty powerful. Bard is the 5th most popular. Not too shabby. I think Bards are also fun for the troll aspect. Like you get boosts with, it's either Persuasion or Deception, so you can be all naughty, and like, just like a lot of their abilities, like, what's the one where you have people double over in laughter, you insult them to their face and it does damage? Like a lot of that shit's just funny. So I like that, being a chaotic neutral character. I really like that aspect. I think it went really well with my character. Remember I stole the Scroll of Charm in the final? Yeah, we tried that fight on the fight. We tried to fight out that fight and they all just ran away next turn. Wait, so they didn't actually try to fight you? So, full disclosure for everybody that missed it. Last night when you're in the Gather Your Allies room towards the end, I saw a Scroll of Charmed person, but it was red. But we're all surrounded by allies, so I thought to myself, there's no way they're gonna get mad at me about this. At the worst, you'd probably get the cutscene where they go, somebody doesn't like you taking things. Maybe you should stop, fucking doing that. But they all aggroed me immediately. And everybody turned red except the people that were in my immediate party. Like the Owlbear, Halcyon, all these other people, like all went red. And I was like, oh fuck, I need to reload my save. So that was pretty funny though. Very unexpected. Otasha's Hideous Laughter. That one is funny as hell. I love that. They all just kind of giggle and start rolling around and shit. I love it. On Saravok, one of the times I tried to kill him, it was like the second attempt. It took me like, I think 3 attempts. I did that other one, the Odaluk's dancing something or other that forces them to dance, and it was really funny because it made him do it for a bunch of turns, which is great. But yeah. Oh, shoot, sorry. Everybody's chatting. Enjoyed Sorcerer. Fewer spells, but more ways to deploy them. I need to, like, look into, like, what exactly... What's cool about the Sorcerer? Like, what do they bring to the table that's different than other mages? Let's see. When you see the Bard tag, you know there's some good dialogue coming. Yeah! So Bard, I guess, if I did another class, I would hope that you get as many weird, like, unique moments with the dialogue that you seem to get with Bard. Bard loves to talk about themselves, to brag about shit, to talk about singing. Now, what's weird is you don't get to sing, which I feel is like a missed opportunity. Like, have your character like actually sing some of these things. That would be great, but it's just not weapons, instruments, which is kind of a bummer. Gonna start a Dirge playthrough. So not now. So what we're gonna do is, well, immediately now, tonight, we're gonna do a tier list for the characters, and then we're going to do a watch party for Dungeons & Dragons, the movie. And then Wednesday, we're gonna start our little stint of Final Fantasy VII stuff. There's an updated part 2 of the Rebirth demo, so we'll do that Wednesday. And then Saturday, we're going to start playing FF7 Remake, which will then link up to Rebirth when it comes out. And then once we're done with Rebirth, which hopefully doesn't take super long, I don't think it will, well, compared to Baldur's Gate at least, we will loop back around to Baldur's Gate and then do the Dark Urge run. So we're not done with not Dragon Age, my brain. We're not done with Baldur's Gate at all yet, so don't worry about that. Sorcerer has cool, useful subclasses too. Have I ever used Odaluk's Irresistible Dance? No, that's the one. That's what it's called. Otto's? Oh, I thought it was Odaluk. Otto's Irresistible Dance is what I used on Saravok, and it hit. So he was just doing this little like Running Man dance for like a couple turns, which is great. Because otherwise he destroys us. You mean Baldur's Gate 3 isn't Dragon Age? Don't forget, Dragon Age 4... Well, okay, it's not coming out in summer, but I guess it's going to get an actual trailer in the summer, which I'm not going to hold my breath, but I think they have to show something now. They put things off for too long. They have to show some actual content soon. Sorcerer has a resource pool called Sorcery Points. With them, you can use the Sorcerer's meta magics, which do different effects. Meta magic? But the spell selection is much different than Wizard. It works like a Bard spell list, but far more damage-dealing spells. Huh. I might actually, like, well, not in a full game. I might just open up something to, like, fuck around with it. Like, maybe in my existing game, just talk to Withers, reset my job just to mess around with that. Because we saw a lot of overlapping cantrips and some spells with Warlock, even Bard, and Wizard. So I'm curious what Sorcerer brings that's not any of those things. Did I like Wizards? Sorcerer's less versatile, Wizard less spells. Well, okay. Gale, I think, maybe even narratively, kind of puts all other wizards to shame. I really love being able to learn spells from scrolls. I love being able to change up actively your spell list or whatever on the fly. And then the later spells are just so goddamn strong, I guess, when you know which one to use on who. Like the lightning, I keep calling it lightning lane. I think it's just lightning. Because it's the fucking lane of lightning. That one and Fireball used to be good, and then it got less good, but still not bad. And Chain Lightning is ridiculous. And then the necrotic ones at the high levels were also pretty good as well when they hit. Patch 6 is so bugged for me right now. One of Marina's friends is a legendary action. One of those buff... Wait, what? Why would they have a legendary action? That does sound like a bug. Bard and Warlock are the only classes with a unique cantrip only they get in the game. Bard can get Vicious Mockery. Oh, right. Wait, so how did... Did I give Bard to Astarion? Because we double-teamed Saravok because he was weak. Is it Charisma or Wisdom or something? He was weak to one of the stats that both my character and Astarion had, because we both kept doing Vicious Mockery back and forth, and we basically whittled down his health till we killed him. So, something... Well, not double-team that, you know what I mean. So, but Vicious Mockery was very effective, weirdly, against Saravok. If you get Spell Sniper, you get Eldritch Blast. So one thing I need to do, I loved Will's Eldritch Blast that also shoves the shit out of somebody when you do it. I'm not sure if that's unique to Warlock, but I want to get more people. Like, whoever has Eldritch Blast in my next playthrough, I want to make sure that they have that ability, because, wow, that's fun. That is a lot. Is it unique? Okay, fuck. Well, maybe I can do, like a subclass or multi-class in Warlock or something. I like that a lot. That was pretty great. But yeah. Let's see here. Like I said, I looked at all these other ones. Sorry if I missed anybody's chat. Warlock gets invocations, which can add extra things to your Eldritch Blast. Yeah, Eldritch Blast, I know everybody, of course, says that's like the bread and butter of a Warlock. But I see why, because it's so fucking good. It's great. With the Will, that's like his best fucking spell. Well, most consistent, at least, when I was using him. The pushing is unique to Warlock, but Bards can get Eldritch Blast at level 10 if Lore Bard. See, I had 3 levels in Fighter. So my Bard, ironically, was only like 9. So I missed out. I always kind of wondered, like, should I have respect my character? But he did fine enough, so it's okay. Maybe for the next go around, if I do Bard again, I'm just not going to do Fighter with it. I'll do something else. Will is fun to play when you figure out what this Warlock's with. Yeah, and he's actually super strong. He ended up having... What did I have? He had a Cambion, the Eldritch Blast push, and then another Elemental. When we were fighting Cazador, he was bringing all these extra dudes to the table for that fight, and he really helped out a lot, actually. And then I think, did he also have Misty Step? Because I used him to rescue Astarion, I think, from the Cazador fight. Repelling Blast pushes a target. So maybe is Repelling Blast the add-on? Agonizing Blast adds the Charisma bonus to your Eldritch Blast, which cantrips don't usually get. Huh. It must be Repelling that I used. In proper D&D, Eldritch Blast can be modified with an array of features for a range of 1,200 feet? Wow! Yeah, I want to explore that more. That's awesome. Actually, speaking of Will, let's get into the tier list. That seems like a decent segue. Let me switch this. Let's open up. Whoop. All right. So if you guys have watched my streams before, you know the score. It's a very subjective oops, let me zoom out a little bit. Too much there. It's a very subjective tier list. It's not, I'm not being objective at all. It's very based off of my own opinions. As you can see here, we start with Can't Live Without, solid character. Okay. Meh. Actively annoying. And then, whoops, you're dead. Which is like, either I can't stand this character or I literally killed them. Or, you know, this is like the junk pile, basically, for all of that. And I found actually a very nice tier list from the tier list maker that has pretty much everybody we probably care about. It might be missing a couple folks, but it's pretty consistent. Here, let me... Oh, hold on a sec. I thought I had the music in this one. Let me go back to the other one just for a second. I'm going to steal a little audio track from this other guy. Put it in here. Okay, so we're not like listening to silence in between me talking. Okay, so I guess we'll just do this in order. Oh, you didn't miss much not taking your bar to 12. You only get 2 choices for level 6. Oh, really? Okay, so maybe that's a good thing then. I'm glad I only kept it at 9. Step 1, be level 3 Warlock and level 3 Sorcerer at minimum. Step 2, take the Eldritch Spear invocation, or innovation, making your Eldritch Blast reach 300. Oh, that's to take the max distance? Now, what we noticed towards the end of the game was that they started, I mean, for people I started pushing off cliffs, some of them just come back, which maybe I was just picking the wrong targets. Obviously, the Mind Flayers didn't stay off the cliff. They came back. And Cazador, I thought I was being so clever pushing him off, but then apparently he just turned into bats and turned back. But somebody was telling me that at some point you could just literally push Cazador off the cliff and then that would be the end of the fight. So they clearly fixed that because I did that to him with Will's Repelling Blast, I think. And he just came back, which is whatever. Yeah, they patched it. It was funny, though, because it worked. Just another instance of pissing off Cazador. I'll take any instance I can get. My inner loot goblin doesn't let me shove foes off a cliff I want. So that was the other thing. I was thinking, like, I'm sure there's a bunch of YouTube videos of people finding ways of, like, insta-killing people with pushing. But I would have to make sure that the ones I'm pushing off the cliff I don't care about, because if you push like a boss off the cliff, for example, then you're really screwing yourself out of some good loot, unless there's some way later to like bring them back, but probably not. Will is capitalized? Oh, is he? Wait, what? Will! So this person that made these images very much likes Will. They picked a very smiley picture of him as well. Okay, so, alright, so Astarion we're starting with. I love Astarion. I'm gonna say, even if you're not interested in him romantically, you need him in the party at some point. Like, if you're not romancing him, there's still so much fun trolly shit and, like, obnoxious, like, reactions and stuff that he does that, like, I would think even if you're not romantically involved, there's a lot of value just in character uniqueness. He also has quite the interesting character arc, at least from when I did it. I didn't ascend him because I didn't have the heart to do it because it felt innately wrong. And seeing him go from somebody that was always kind of like just for themselves and very chaotic, not chaotic neutral even, almost like chaotic evil. But by the end, actually saying that he was an adventurer and a hero and stuff, I'm like, wow, look how far we've come. My character's influence was so positive on this guy that it ended up totally advancing his character growth. He's clearly some writer's special boy because his story is very developed. He has a boss fight that's specifically about him, right? Well, okay. So Gortash has the beef with Karlach and vice versa. And then Astarion has the beef with Cazador and vice versa. Although I feel like you could probably avoid... Like, it didn't feel mandatory, necessarily, to bring Karlach with you to Gortash. I just thought that was the nice thing to do. But it does feel like you really should bring Astarion to Cazador. If we're making comparisons that way. No one else has something like that. Aside from maybe, bringing Jakira to get Minsk or something. But obviously Cazador is far more important plot-wise than any of the stuff that Minsk is involved with. It's definitely like the special Larian character. But I'm okay with that. Because they did a good job with him. I don't know what I would compare him to if we're talking like a parallel to like a Dragon Age character. I don't know if there really is one. Because he's very multifaceted. And the facets will change depending on how you interact with him as well. I think more neutral evil fits better in the total self. Well, yes, although I would almost say he's kind of chaotic because there were sometimes he approved of things that I was surprised about. Although maybe that's in line with like certain victims that I help he approves of, while other ones he's like, why are we wasting our time? So it's very specific. Chaotic evil's more like Orin. Yeah, I guess that's true. She is definitely chaotic evil. Like, even to the point where the other two big bads kind of don't want to deal with her if they don't have to. that whole trio feels like they only were together because their respective patron gods or whatever, like, essentially forced them to. It's like, you guys are going to work together and you're going to like it. It's like these little kids that are like, I don't want to play with this other kid. And Orin's like the worst of all of them. Cazador is so disconnected from the story. Every origin companion boss is connected to the plot. Well, I mean, Cazador, in terms of importance, if you are going after Cazador, you really do have to bring Astarion. Otherwise, it kind of feels like, why am I here? Do I need to kill this guy? because he's not like a Raphael or something like that. He's certainly an evil in the darkness that you got to deal with, but they're sort of paired together. His bite happy buff. Yeah, the bite is great. I wish there was some way that I didn't have to always keep curing myself with the bloodless aspect every morning as well, but I dealt with it. It was fine. But yeah, he brought a lot to the table. His acting is so fucking good. I think that's the other thing. Neil Newbon is just... He deserved a lot of those awards that he got in various game awards shows for Astarion. Like, he... Not only he did his homework, but sometimes you almost wonder, like, is this some, like, method acting that's happening? Like, he gets really into it compared to... Not that the other characters weren't good, but there's almost like he maybe felt that character on a personal level to some degree or something. You're right, I literally did not care about him if he wasn't in my party list. Yeah, exactly. For Cazador. My friend gutted Astarion when he tried to bite her. Oh, because you can do that. I remember the option. I didn't pick it. And he ran off. So I'm wondering what's going to happen when we reach the city. Oh, if he ran back to... So my guess, if he ran back to Cazador, he's probably going to be one of those sacrifice subjects, but maybe... I don't know if you could save him, because like you can obviously do the help thing and like save him when he's part of your party during the Cazador fight, but you can't do that with the other guys, the other NPCs. So maybe he'll just function like the other NPC sacrifice people, but in that spot that he normally is in. I wonder if he'll just run off or something once you kill Cazador, though, right? Because he's not gonna like you. He's gonna go somewhere else. You should let me know what happens when you guys get to that part. Okay, so that's Astarion. Karlach. Okay, so Karlach, I had like a... I wouldn't say love-hate, because that's not true. I liked her a lot. I think she's a solid character, but I can't say can't live without, because as I was telling Joe Crazyface, there were some times, and this is like a personality thing, just personally with me, where she was almost a little too immature for me. And I was getting irritated because everybody else could kind of get on the same page sometimes about things we were doing. And then she'd be like, I guess I'll just go eat dirt or something. It's like, you don't have to be immature about what we're doing. It's okay to just go along with it for now. And then again, the fact that I couldn't, until Will came in and salvaged like the ending, the fact that I couldn't like reason with her like an adult about like, look, I get that hell is awful, but you also really said you don't want to die, so we could just have you there temporarily until we find a cure to your situation, right? Which she just refused to constantly. And so she almost was here, and then she definitely dipped down a step because of some of those more... maybe it's immature is the wrong word. It's just... unreasonable? not unreasonable either, because in a sense it kind of can be reasonable if you rationalize it. It's a valid take. I think her dialogue is a little limited towards the end. She does just keep saying variations of the same thing over and over towards the end, which gets a little tired, honestly. Yeah, this stubborn is very accurate. That's a good way of saying it. I don't think it's unreasonable to not want to go to Hell Dimension. But see, it's not for the rest of her life. Because as we've seen with these other characters, and this is kind of what I was talking about last stream, there's no indication that it would be permanent. And actually, you know what? What I'm saying is proven, because when they come back to visit in the epilogue, they literally say, hey, we just found an Infernal Forge that has blueprints that maybe we can fix her engine. So that literally validates the fact that I was saying, just hold your horses. We'll figure this out. You don't have to just burn up on the docks. You could, that was an added thing to the ending. I mean, still part of the story, so Karlach is usually benched in my runs, sorry. I mean, there's a lot of characters. I will never grief anybody if they don't use one or two characters. I actually didn't use her, so she didn't like me until almost the end of the game, because I didn't use her early on. And I think early on is where you could get some easy approval wins for her. And so once I brought her back on my team, she was just kind of like, oh, hey, it's you. And she'd be kind of like shitty to me. Like when she was talking to her friend, the seller that's in Baldur's Gate, she'd be like, oh, the seller says, hey, who's this you're traveling with? Is this some new like interest or whatever? And she's like, oh, no, definitely not. Like the tone that she had regarding me, I was like, what am I, a piece of shit on your shoe? What is this? You like, why are you being like shitty to me? I'm trying to help you out. So I think maybe things would have been helped a bit if she was just like more positive towards me. But she eventually got there. It's just that she was, for a more extended time than the other characters, she just, yeah, you know, was her response, pretty much. So, yeah. She burns up in the dock in my headcanon. Well, it looked like she was about to. If I didn't have Will there, I think that's what was going to happen. The normal team is Karlach, Will, and Minthara. Oh, Minthara! So I really, for the Dark Urge, I definitely want to figure out how to not kill her and also to get her in my party. We didn't get a chance to have her in my party, so I completely missed out on Minthara. And I really wanted, I mean, as a fellow Drow, I would very much like to have her in my group and see what her relation is with everybody. It was some banter. She's my bestie, so I felt more like it was playful ribbing. I couldn't tell, honestly. The tone she had for me, it almost felt like she was like, yeah, you're all right. I really think that Uno is more Uno or like brother and sister. Oh, well, okay. It just, I guess I didn't read it that way. But anyway, still good character. Very much enjoy her. Gale. I fucking love Gale. Okay, I don't understand. Apparently on Twitter or some other parts of the internet, there's active Gale haters, and I just don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. He's funny. He's got like a kind of a stick up his ass, but like it's funny. That's me. I'm the hater. I don't know, like, find him annoying? I think that's valid. Like I said before, when I first started partying with him, he had this vague, like, because I was still in Dragon Age mode in my head. I was gonna say, like, if there was anybody that reminded me of Gale in the Dragon Age games, it might be like Anders, but I don't like Anders, and I feel like Gale is like what Anders wishes he was. if we're comparing, it's still apples and oranges, but whatever. Gale is cute, so that does it for me. But I also like how I don't like Anders. I tried to like Anders, I really did. I just don't like Anders. The eating of the valuable items was annoying at first, but then it was kind of funny because at a certain point, for some reason, I started thinking about the visual of like, what is he doing with this shit? Is he actually like eating it, or is he just sticking it in his chest and it disappears? Like, what's going on? So I kind of found it more funny than annoying at a certain point. Plus, they must have realized that would get really annoying, so they curtail it after what, like 3 items? And fortunately, there were easily 3 items I did not care about, so I was like, okay, this is fine. That was okay. Gale's also objectively the best wizard. He's really good! So, like, even if you don't like him, having him in your party is almost like cheating sometimes, because it's like, if you get the right spell set in a particular fight, he carries some of these fights, which happened to me a bunch of times, which is great. So he's very valuable. Really just paying taxes on a good upgrade. Oh, Shadow Lantern? Wait, Shadow Lantern and extra spell slots. I don't think I gave him a Shadow Lantern. I mean, these are things I'll try when I do this over again. Him becoming God of Ambition. Wait. Okay, you just spoiled me on something, Canada guy, so don't do that again. So I'm going to try to pretend I didn't see whatever that is. In my first playthrough, I accidentally had him eat the Sword of Tyr because I was confused. Which one is the Sword of Tyr? Is that... But I mean, a lot of the early on things usually get swapped out with better stuff. So even if it was something pretty good, the one from the Devil Paladins, I don't even know if I still had that one, to be honest. You definitely had him craft the Shadow Lantern, but it might have been absorbed into the ocean. Yeah, I think, Crypto, that's probably more accurate. I think we did that. Oh, right, because that was that was at that table that had all like the dead fairies or something. So yeah, that definitely got lost in the inventory. Paladin's Hunting Karlach had it. It's like the first 1-2-hander you get and has a nice short rest buff. You know why I might have forgotten about that is because Lizelle was really the only person doing two-handed stuff at the time, and I probably just either tossed it to her and forgot about it, or had something better in her hand at the time. So, yeah. Is a debonair quality I feel like you don't see enough of these days. Okay, so what's his face? Tim... Oh my god, I forgot his name. Downey or whatever? The guy that plays Gale. I really like his approach to the character. You don't have enough characters that do that more dry sense of humor. And it's kind of nice. If we had a bunch of characters doing the same kind of jokes, I'd hate it. But he's kind of one of just a few that do it. So I think that's the other reason why I like him a lot, because it's like, you're going through some normal conversation and then he does some smart out. Since I have both Astarion and Gale, there's a chance one of or both of them will say some smart aleck shit. And I usually find it funny. So I don't know. He's a fun party member. He's cute. Although fucking Joe Crazy Face says he looks like Kenny Loggins. So sometimes that does get in my head visually. And I don't know. I just like him. I just think he's neat. Gale's ego is so annoying, so I couldn't keep him in the party. He does get to a point with his ego about magic where if it wasn't for the fact that he clearly gets knocked down a couple pegs narratively, like towards the end, I might have been a little put off by it, but I also felt like some of that was like his coping mechanism. So like both Astarion and Gale have weird coping mechanisms for like insecurity and other things, and I feel like Gale sometimes he really does believe he is the best ever, but other times it does feel like he's doing that as a nice mask so he doesn't draw attention to the fact that he's worrying about dying or worrying about doing the wrong thing or that he was responsible for doing something awful. So I think it's like a coping thing sometimes and not like a legit ego, but there are sometimes where it's ego. I had him a cleric of Mistral when I was playing a magic person. Oh, right, because you could totally just switch up their classes, huh? And not keep them as the default ones. I never really tried that. It might have been interesting. But yeah, I just think he's neat. So Lae'zel, okay, Lae'zel, this is going to be a lot of people out here. I fucking love Lae'zel. And I never thought I would like her so much. When I first saw the stuff for Baldur's Gate, before I even like got the game, I was like, she's kind of annoying. Because she's just like, I'm really aggressive. I'm like in everyone's face. Yeah, chick or whatever. Whatever she says. But when she's in your party and she's kicking ass and she's just like, she's actually kind of weirdly relatable, even though she's so bloodthirsty. She converted me. I still don't want to do it with her, but like is definitely my ride or die like friend, you know? And I like the fact she's the best. And I like the fact that, I mean, she could have, I guess we could have kept her pro Vlaakith or whatever, but she's not so stubborn and in her own head that she didn't realize like, oh, I've been doing the wrong thing all along. I like the turn that she had narratively with her character. And I actually like the ending I picked. I do feel a little guilty that I didn't let her go off and become the next new big leader of the Gith. And maybe in the Dark Urge run, I'll actually let her do that and see what happens. But I also did like her staying in Faerun and raising a kid, which I didn't realize could be a thing, and being very happy. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Her story's really good. Her romance is definitely a real roller coaster. I believe it. If she is really as physical as she tends to be, it's probably a very intense romance. Yeah, she's very honest, and like, there's a lot to like about her. And what's funny is she kind of, if you push her a little bit, she almost kind of respects you for kind of giving her shit, which is nice. Oh, hey! Hey, Red Jack.
Is amazing.
Yeah, she is great. Thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate that. And the 4 months, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I love that viewpoint from Lae'zel after the prism then I have not sinned against Vlaakith. Vlaakith has sinned. Yeah, when she turns a corner and she realizes like Vlaakith sucks, I was like, yes, yes. I was so happy she didn't stay like converted, you know, like not that she's brainwashed, but essentially indoctrinated to think that Vlaakith is like the best thing since sliced toast equivalent is in D&D land. I feel like early game she's really trying not to show weakness. So I believe that too. I think, especially when we came across Mr. Trollhair, what's his face, Voss, and everything really early at the bridge, and we come across other Gith like in Act 1, she clearly wants to puff her chest up and be like, I'm tough. I deserve the silver sword someday. I'm going to be awesome. Like, but it feels like by the time we're in Act 3, she doesn't need any of that because she knows she's the shit. You know, like, a slice sweet roll, or is that Skyrim? But yeah, something to the equivalent. So she comes a long way. All these three, when they're gently nudged in the proper direction, really shine in Act 3, I think. Yeah, you're right, Fekiani. They are both overcompensating. She's in a foreign world trying to stay alive and not become her people's mortal enemy. True. She's a lot of pride, and she's definitely not wanting to, you know, be on the wrong side of the Githyanki because she knows what happens when you do that. But by the end, she doesn't even care about that because she's made her own fate, her own story, which I respect. I made her an Oath of Vengeance paladin. That sounds cool. I mean, all the classes they have set for these characters suit them very well. I mean, I guess they should, but I think one thing I like about the game is I've never felt dissatisfied with their default stuff to the point of saying like, oh, I gotta change it. But now that I've done my first playthrough, I could change it just for, you know, variety's sake to see what they have. Like the Revelations utterly breaks her because she can't reconcile her people's teaching and how it's being enacted. Well, it drops the, what's the phrase? You drop the something from your eyes or whatever, like the scales from your eyes or whatever. Because she's able to think outside of what she's just been told over and over again in the Githyanki bubble, you know? Rose-tinted glasses, that too. Yeah, she's taken off her rose-tinted glasses and she sees the world for what it is. I still end up respecting Shadowheart more often than not. Oh, compared to Lae'zel? Well, they had their little beef, right? Which is interesting because they kind of... It's a little subtle. They stop trying to kill each other, and then somewhere down the line, they're like actually okay with each other. I wouldn't say that they're friends, necessarily. But they definitely maybe come to more of an understanding. Oh, shit. Speaking of Shadowheart, she's next on the list. Okay. I can't just put people on here. Now, obviously, she's not a can't live without because otherwise she would be in my party all the fucking time. Right? But she's very, like, I would say for me, she's kind of like right in between here. If there was a way to do that. It's still very solid, honestly. Oh, yeah, the kissing. So I know what Larian's doing. They had those kissing tweets, the videos, and it was like Lae'zel kissing Shadowheart and then Astarion kissing Gale. Some other things. It was very funny. You're the one who did all the healing, right? So I didn't... Well, initially I didn't want to, and then I realized, like, oh, there's all these really good healing spells that the bard just easily gets. So I kind of... I felt like I almost feel like the healer person in my mind is often like the head of the party. Like the one divvying out orders to people, you go there, and then like you're like the like has anybody seen the anime Log Horizon? This is kind of a deep cut, but like in that anime, the main character guy, essentially, he's not an aggressive, he's not like a fighter, he's not like a powerful mage or whatever. He's actually like a tactician type character, but he oversees everybody's battle, and he is essentially a support character, but like is the linchpin on which everything depends, you know? So I feel like as my bard, I've been able to kind of be that role where like I'll keep everybody up, I boost them, I do all this other stuff, and then I say go be killers. I have them go and execute their plans, and it's great. Loud Cries, and that's not an anime. Yeah, I watch a lot of nerdy shit, but like Loud Horizon kind of comes up sometimes when I think about either MMOs or like that kind of party dynamic for how that works. But her romance when I was playing a Gith cleric of so so you picked the complete opposite character to romance her, huh? That's got to be spicy, right? But I like Shadowheart's story. I think it does take a little while to get going, right? Because she's very frosty initially. Almost slightly a bitch. I remember distinctly in Act 1 saying that she was basically like Bastila. She reminded me of Bastila from KOTOR. She's always acting like, I know best. Why are you here? Like almost having her like looking down at me, like her chin's up and she's looking down her nose at me. But once you kind of understand her background more and how she can't remember shit, and I gave her the noble stock, which helped bring some of her memories back, which was like a huge thing for her, which I'm glad I did. It started shifting. And I liked her more when she kind of loosened up a little bit. She has a very compelling story with the whole, like, what Shar did to her and brainwashed her and did awful shit to her parents. So I feel like she's not like a late game bloomer, but she definitely bloomed more after doing some of those Shar temples and getting to understand a little bit more about her. Yeah, she basically has a whole act. Because whether you like her or not, you have to go through the Shar Temple. And it's much easier if you bring her along for the ride. To say that. But I liked her a lot. And she actually, by the epilogue, she's funny. Like, she knows what she wants. She's happy with her parents. She's settled down, and she's just fucking happy. And I'm happy for her. I was glad I was able to get to hug her. So I like her a lot. Will. But with the capital Will. But Bastila had mild Dommy Mommy vibes. Shadowheart has mild Hot Topic vibes. Okay. Don't say Dommy Mommy when Bastila was only like 19. That kind of creeps me out. I mean, of course, with Jennifer Hale's voice, it doesn't. A lot of people don't think about the fact that she's actually pretty young. But it is funny that she's a lot younger than she acts. She acts like she's fucking 30. But she's really not, which makes anybody that romances her with Revan feel kind of iffy, because Revan is basically like 37? So there is quite the age gap there. Yeah. Spicy. Let's see here. Okay. Shadowheart had to grow on me because my god, her shit gets old fast in the beginning. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, so I had the same problem. But once she kind of sloughs off that like layer that's clearly like a defensive layer, she's a lot better. 32. Okay, still 30s. So it's like, oof. Okay, so Will. I like Will a lot. Some people would probably just put him okay. I actually think he's a really solid character. I love Will. I'd put him higher if his romance was better. Well, not better, but like... It feels like it's lacking a little something to me. It's very sweet, but it also feels like maybe it wasn't as developed as some of the other characters, which I think might be true, because from what I've heard, both Karlach and Will feel like they got either changed up or, I don't know, just totally altered at some point by Lurian. I would put him on solid, then I saw him dance. Oh, would that bring him to this then? You know what? The dance scene actually was kind of endearing, I thought. Because he's willing to put oh god. He's willing to put himself out there, and like, you know, he's got nerdy likes. I can respect that. I do nerdy shit. I don't dance like in front of a fire, whatever the hell he was doing, but I used to karaoke a lot, you know, so we got similar traits. He's corny. He's corny, but I like it. I think that's accurate, Fake Yeti. His romance dialogues are bugged. Are they? I mean, that would explain a lot. But I do like him. I do feel like I almost accidentally romanced him. Like you got ninja-manced a little bit, because just being nice to him sometimes also lets you start sliding into that, like, hey, let's dance around the fire and kiss kind of moment. And when you try to back out nicely, it still seems like you kind of crushed his heart a little bit, which I felt bad about. Will is a successful Jacob. No, he's way better than Jacob, though. Jacob's is awful. You talking about Mass Effect, Jacob? Ugh. No, Will is solid. As a warlock, he's great. Like, his skill set is fantastic. He's a good noble character, which we actually kind of don't have a lot of. Like, it's not a bad thing to have essentially like a paladin type personality amidst all these very questionable ones. I kind of like having, you know, having something more unique to break things up with. Hey, Blue! Yes! Yeah, we're doing tiers. Thank you for the congrats. It was great. I stayed up way too late last stream finishing it up, but I'm glad we're here. Will always seemed a little underdeveloped to me. Each of his scenes always felt like something had been left out. I also wondered why he was constantly drinking. Oh, yeah, I think that's his only idle animation. They need to give him some more. It's like, what does he like to do? I don't know, wine? Drink wine? Jacob's a terrible companion with one of the better loyalty missions. Will had me invested in Pact and rescuing. Yeah, and so he's also another one where it's good that he's there because he has input to a character that's important to the plot. His father can go kick rocks, though. I hated how, after all we did busting our ass to save his dad, the first thing he does is look at Will's horns and go, ugh! And then we literally had to not mindfuck, but like, we had to go in his mind with the fucking tadpole and show him, like, forcibly show him that Will was like Will, for him to be like, oh, I was wrong. Like, you can't just see his actions and see what he did and realize, like, maybe I should give him the benefit of the doubt? Like, what the fuck? Since most people aren't gonna... Wait, I wonder if him getting horns is canon for him, since most people aren't gonna kill Karlach in the main playthrough. Probably. I mean, remember in the, well, I don't have the game open, but like in the main image with the little triangle of like the characters except for Karlach, he's got horns. So I think they fully expect, like, unless you do something real evil with Karlach, he's gonna get horns at some point. Let's see. Cannot stand his father. Correct. Theo's voices. Yeah, all of these guys' voices are so good. And all the voice actors seem so awesome. You know, like, I've seen all of them in various, like, interviews and stuff, and they're fantastic. But I like Will a lot. I do hope that as these patches continue, because it seems like they do keep adding things or changing things, that maybe Will gets developed, like, just a little bit. I like his quirkiness. Like, bring it out a bit more, or have some of his comments a bit more relevant to, like, what's happening. It feels like he's just kind of there sometimes. And I feel like he could get a gentle shove, a little bit more. Oh god, speaking of which, Halsin. That's the same thing I was saying about Halsin. I was so bummed that, like, once Halsin is so based around the Shadow Curse land stuff, because that's his whole hang up of, like, how he feels so guilty about not being able to do anything. Once all those things are free, what does he do? And then he actively is uncomfortable in a big city because it's nothing like the forest where he's like a forest hippie all the time. But I love him, though, because I love his personality. He's like the sweetest, like, hippie daddy that you could ever get. I want more. Both of these guys, both Will and Halsin, I want them to expand on them more. Have them be quirky. Have them do something in Act 3. You know, well, I mean, Will does something, but I mean, like, personally, you know. Will higher on your list than I expected. Really? I like Will. I mean, I actually made a couple efforts to get him in my little trio more often compared to even, like, Shadowheart. I just wish that, like, it is dependent on them being relevant to the quests and plot that I'm currently doing. Which, thankfully, with his dad, he was, but, like, after that's done, it's like, okay, whatever. I also think Halsin is ridiculously hot in some weird way that I don't understand. I didn't think I'd be attracted to him, but here we are. He's huge, but he's like a gentle giant or something, and I don't know. I want him to do more. I want him to be more, like, contribute more to the party or something. He's super hot. He always looks like he's bursting out of his clothes. It's like, holy shit. I like him randomly popping up in Act 1, like we save him and stuff. I just feel like they kind of shortchanged him, and I don't know if that's on purpose or what. Halsin was my first romance because everybody rejected me. He also, it's hilarious, in Act 3, he kept approving of like literally everything I did. Like I could do no wrong in Halsin's eyes. I talked to an animal, approved. I talked to like a person, approved. It's like, what? Okay, cool. I think the only time he outright didn't approve of something is like if I just killed somebody in cold blood, which most of them would probably disapprove except maybe Astarion. He's incredibly supportive, yes. And it's hilarious. Halsin had an interesting story in early access. Was it different? Halsin's like chill firefighter vibes. Yeah! Firefighter body, too. This man can carry me out of a burning building and then to tell me about the animal shelter he built. Oh, and then, speaking of that, the fucking epilogue where he is back in the fixed, not Shadowlands anymore. He's got a bunch of kids and animals and pets, and it's like he's made this fucking community where everybody calls him Daddy Halsin. It's like, like amazing, great. I want to give me a DLC where I can visit him and do who knows what in that community. Like I love it. I can't believe Halsin didn't have any interactions with that guy trying to save the tree outside the Undead Central. Undead Central? Wait, where was that? I had someone say about him once, I just want to climb him and cling to his arm like a koala. I mean, I'm a small person, so that would be me. My character, my drow is a normal size, so maybe not for him, but I am very short, so I'd climb him like a tree, for sure. I wish they explored it more. He's responsible for Isabel's death. Oh, wait, what? Is that still the case, or did they change it? I realized they never do say, unless it's in a book I didn't read or something, they never say what directly killed Isabel, just that Ketheric realized she was dead and then he fucking lost it. Halsin's responsible for Isabel's death? It's not the case anymore. We don't know. Okay, so they changed it. Yeah, they make that very mysterious as to what exactly killed Isabel to cause this awful chain reaction of her dad just going down the deep end. I want to sit on his shoulders and just see what he sees. He's like, you sound like it's like that scene in Lord of the Rings where the little halflings are sitting on the treants. It's like that. The treant is Halsin and I'm the little fucking halfling. I'm like, show me more, Papa Halsin. Show me. I like Halsin. Solid character. I would drop him down almost if I didn't like him so much. Like, if we were just doing story, he would be okay. Because clear drop off in terms of what he can do. But the hotness goes back up. Goes right back up. Alright, Minthara. I guess I can't do Minthara. I should make another one for, like, NA. Because it's like... Hold on. I just haven't interacted with her. I talked to her like once. I don't think that's a fair assessment, really. Add a row below and say NA. I'm looking forward to getting to know her. Hopefully in the Dark Urge run. That's where she goes. Yeah, she's dead. She unfortunately died because she aggroed me and I killed her. I like how she looks. I liked how her voice sounded. This sounds all very like... Meh. I do want to learn more about her. I like Drow a lot, so I want to know. Minthara is, in my opinion, one of the best companions. Her depth is surprising. Well, that's... Okay, that's good praise. That's high praise. I'm looking forward to investing time in her later. In early access, negotiations broke down between Sharons and Druids. Man, what the fuck is wrong with Druids and not getting along with people? You would think as like forest hippies, magical forest hippies, they should get along with everybody. But we kept running across Druids trying to like kill off the tieflings. Druids caused all kinds of chaos. It's like, can you guys just relax? And then Halsin just feeling guilty about all of it. I think Isabel was compelled to kill. Oh, so Halsin had to put her down. There's a glaive in a druid grove called Sorrow that depicts that. Interesting. Hey, Pants, welcome. Technically it's whoops, you're dead, isn't it? Because she's dead. Well, yeah, you're right. Although this Whoops, you're dead here is mostly because I hate you, you're whoops, you're dead. So she doesn't deserve that. Never trust people that live out in the wilderness in an isolated compound. True. Very true, actually. Jaheira. Okay. I would almost say I think is like in between here. And I think I would put her here if I probably played the first 2 games. I am doing this purely as somebody that like did not play the other 2. So she kind of came in. She was sassy, which I sassed her back, which she actually liked, which I was fine with. So let's make sure we get this understood. Okay is not bad. Meh is the beginning of bad. Okay is still okay. It's not like sarcastic, like okay. It's actually okay. So I thought she was fine. Again, she had even less to do than Halsin. It's like they just threw her a bone by giving her the Minsk quest, because otherwise it's like, is there any reason for me to use her after Act 2? Not really, unless you're a fan of, you know, the previous games, really. Jaheira I thought would be like Win at first. She was not. No, she's not Win. She's definitely... I don't know if there is a Win character really in this. Not really. Jaheira also has some hidden depths I think we didn't get to in this playthrough. Probably not. I'm fully willing to re-explore her with Dark Urge, although she's probably going to hate me in Dark Urge, I would assume. She's the legacy fan service character and a total gilf. Oh, she does have a bunch of kids, doesn't she? There's a lot of dialogue in the city. She has a lot of interactions with the city's past. I probably should have just walked around Baldur's Gate more with her. There's still a bunch of those houses in Baldur's Gate I'm pretty sure I didn't explore. Because the map is kind of shit, and I couldn't tell what buildings I've already gone into and which ones I haven't. So that was a problem. But we'll try to get more thorough next time around. Minsk is... I know somebody's gonna be mad at this. M for Minsk, M for meh. He's funny in his little instances, but I obviously didn't care enough about him to put him in my party at all. He's almost dumb to the point that I was kind of irritated with him for getting into the situation that he got into. Like, it's not even that he was mind controlled. He was so dumb that he thought that the shapeshifter Jaheira was Jaheira, even though she turned into toxic sludge and teleported away. You're not going to think that's a little suspicious, Minsk? And the thing with the hamster is initially funny, but it's like, God, is he talking about Boo every time? I don't know. Some people probably think that's endearing or funny all the time. I feel that kind of gag has limited uses, just personally. Either that or have Boo actually do stuff. That would be fine. Like have him be like or maybe he was and I just didn't play the character, so I don't know. He's like the himbo. He's good to... Well, but that's the thing. This is like we have himbo at home, but this is like well, he's not a himbo, but he's like the smart himbo. You know, like if I'm picking between the two of these, I'm sorry, Mitz, but you gotta go. Like Halsin is always gonna be like the best one. In 1 and 2, his int is 8 and wisdom is 6, so he's an all there mentally. I mean, at least that comes through in this. I believe that. But yeah, he's all right. Himbo hippie flavor, yeah. For Halsin, I feel like when I saw pictures of Minsk back in like the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 days, I assumed he was like Drax, which kind of, but even Drax seems a bit more serious than Minsk does, which is kind of funny. But whatever. Maybe they based Drax off of Minsk. Lae'zel's no, but see, Lae'zel's smart as hell. Drax is not. Drax just understands really simple shit, and like he doesn't understand references to things or metaphors or any. I feel like Drax actually has the same problem that Minsk does eventually. It's like the running gag of him being obtuse gets old to me after a while. But that's just me. Boo is also meh, because you got to put these guys together. I like a little hamster, but he is not doing anything for me. It's literally a plot point in 3 that Drax is stupid. I still haven't seen 3. Okay, I'll give Drax benefit of the doubt. I still have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Boo is OP. Does he actually... Okay, actual question. A spoiler here is okay. Does he fight at all with Minsk? Is he like a pet side character or something? Or is it just for the cutscenes, like he talks to Boo? Like, does he do shit, like, in his skill set? Because I never leveled Minsk up, so I have no idea. Yeah? You could summon him. You could summon Boo as Minsk? Wait, what? Oh, as Minsk. Oh, using Minsk. But does he have, like, 2 hit points or something? Or is he actually, like, really usable? If you throw him, he blinds people? Okay, well, fuck. I might have to try this combo out at some point next time. Dark Urge, haven't done it yet. Looking forward to it. So that's NA. He has really high armor class for some reason. Well, probably because he's a gigantic miniaturized space hamster, right? Sarevok missed all his attacks on Boo. Oh, you did that in that order? See, I did Minsk so late in the game. That was the other reason why I just didn't want to use him, because we were almost done. So there's no reason to just bring somebody in suddenly at the end. Withers. Withers, I should say, whoops, you're dead because he's dead, but that's not what this category is. I think he's okay. If anyone's played Final Fantasy XIV, he had a very Urianger style dialogue all the time, which is funny. But he obviously is important to the story, and he's useful. But he also is very neutral. So it's not like he's really playing favorites with you, or at least when I was playing it, he wasn't playing favorites. And he seems to have his own agenda as well, because he was shitting on the 3 big bad gods at the little after credits cutscene. So he's got something going on, which I don't know what. There's a mod that gives Withers booty shorts. Oh god, that say "Art thou nasty?" Are you serious? Okay, I can't get that though, because that's probably gonna gross me out. He's a fucking skeleton. Backstory to Withers. Yes, so apparently he used to be Yurgle, the actual god of death, from what folks were kind of cluing me into last stream. So no joke, god damn it. Well, okay. Maybe I'll get the booty shorts. I don't know if I will. That's gonna be so goofy. I'll make a note. Yeah, so it's like the 3 other gods took his job basically and fucked it and ruined it. So I guess he's happy now that he can prove to them, like, see, you guys suck. The most cursed thing I saw was Raphael and Jurgle remodeled into Will's dance scene. Oh, with the little clap and the skipping around the fire. Oh my god. Well, that's something. But he's fine. And I liked how he, even though he is neutral, he clearly has some affection for us in his own way. And it's always good to have a previous god of death on your side, even partially, so he's fine. Scratch is best boy. You can't live without Scratch. And you really can't live without the Owl Cub, so I'll just put them there. Not a lot of explanation. I just really like them, and I like them being in the party. I will say, it's funny that the Owlbear Cub just immediately grew up. Like, within an hour of seeing him previously, he's a suddenly gigantic bear. But they're all supportive and cute, and I like animals, so animals kind of get a bunch of extra bump ups for me. He's kind of responsible for the whole problem, so I think he feels responsible. Responsive or responsible? Wait, what is that Astarion? What is Yastarion? What is that emote? Oh my god. Nope. I've seen a few really cursed mods. One of them gives party members a handsome Squidward face. Oh, like that. Yeah, that's weird. No, I don't think I want that. Tara is also... We only saw her twice, and I wish we saw her more, because she's funny as fuck. Grumpy old lady cat who keeps wanting to put people in his place. In the epilogue, she says something awful off to the side. It was something like, I thought you said your friends were good looking. And then Gail's like, Tara, why are you being so mean? And she's like, I'm just telling you that. I didn't want them to hear it. It's like, what? There's more to Tara if you play as Gale. Oh, as like an origin? Ooh. I might have to try that. Do I play as Gale after Dark Urge, perhaps? Maybe. I like Tara. I want to see more Tara. Oh, fucking Volo. I wouldn't say actively annoying, because the thing that saves him from being actively annoying is that he gave me the best fucking eyeball in the game. Maybe unintentionally, but I mean, he did literally give it to me. So you go to you go to and the scene was horrible to watch, but also funny. So I'll give him that. He is funny. Like, he's a fucking goober. Like, writing the stories that he writes, being like a partial bard, being purposely obnoxious, but he kind of popped up at the times that were perfect for him to be obnoxious in. Like that time that we were just minding our own business, walking to the steel factory, and he just happens to be on a railroad crossing, almost going to get blown up with TNT from these angry, like, civilians. Or wait, maybe it was the Absolute or something. Whatever it was. Like, the scenarios that he finds himself in are really fucking funny. Like, the goblin camp where he got captured and he has to just, like, deal with it, like, hoping that they won't eat him or whatever. And then that scene at Baldur's Gate is funny. So, meh as a person, but he's saved from these slots because the scenarios were funny. Volo's book helps a lot against Orin. Volo's book? Was that the one that has, like, tips and tricks or whatever about, Orin? I'm gonna have to prepare myself for that scene. I screamed so loud the first time I saw it. I get the feeling... Oh, with the eyeball? Yeah, it's... Like I said, it reminds me of Dead Space 2's scene with the machine that does the surgery on your eye. Although, if you fuck that scene up, ugh, oh my god. He gives you the buff for the final fight. He does! Yeah, so he's useful. It's the sound... Yeah, the... Tap, tap. And then plop. Oh, this fucker is dead. I literally killed this guy. Aradin? This asshole. First of all, isn't he the one that caused the problem with the goblins bothering the tiefling camp? Fuck this guy. And then he has the gall to, like, cause problems in front of the sorcerer, like, building. That's where I just killed him. I was like, I've had enough of this. What's the part? Not Parks and Rec. It's the Always in Philadelphia meme where, like, it has the picture and then one of the guys is pointing, going like, I've had enough of this guy. I've had enough of this guy. And so I killed him. And what's funny is when I did it, it didn't attract anybody else to attack. So I think everybody else around me knew that I was right to kill him. If he plays Tiefling, he doubles down on racial remarks. I can't remember if... So, if we're talking about racial remarks, Act 1, I think I saw the most of people being shitty to me because I was a drow. But what's funny is, after Act 1's over, kind of nobody cared. You get the occasional person mentioning that I was a drow, but it really tapered off. Like, just everybody in Act 1 was like, oh, well, you're a drow, but maybe I'll help. You know, like, that kind of thing. Like, nobody cared once you get to Baldur's Gate, I guess because everybody's diverse or something. But I wonder if he would have said, I can't remember, maybe he did say something shitty to me as a drow. I can't remember. But fuck this guy. His stupid curly hair. Baldur's Gate was more cosmopolitan. Yeah, I think that also narratively is the case. I failed this quest and got my party killed. Then you saved me and finished the quest. You owe me. Yeah, it was that. And then he was complaining to the robot or something like, I want to be paid. It's like, but you didn't do anything worth being paid for. When I finally get to this game, my first playthrough, I'll be playing as a tiefling. I was almost tempted to play as a tiefling. I ended up making my guardian character a tiefling. Oh wait, is this going to be spoilers for you, Blue? Because when we get a little further down, I think there will be spoilers. I just mentioned guardian. I'm just putting that out there. I don't want to mess up your experience. I feel like a lot of racial stuff drops off after Act 1. My half-orc got called ugly so much, then it stopped, basically. Yeah. Well, not ugly for drow, but just people don't trust drow, right? I also didn't realize, because I started looking up drow, that it's like a... I don't know if it's a straight up matriarchal society or something, but like the female drow are like the top, and then the male drow are like shat on. So I was keeping that in mind when I was thinking back to some cutscenes where it's like, I don't know if that's really represented that often in the game. Because there were actually a lot of male drow, but I didn't see any of them really being pushed around by female ones. Smaller and weaker? Oh, well, they certainly didn't do that in this game. All the male drow are like tall as fuck. Drow society is matriarchal due to the worship of Lolth, the Spider Queen. And I just happened to pick the other group that's like, we're not like them. We're the cool drow. The Seldaroon drow or whatever they're called. Oh, you know who the Guardian is? Okay, cool. Zevlor. Oh my god, this dude. He's not actively annoying. I would say he's meh, because I was expecting something with this dude, and I didn't get it. He just, like... He felt like he should have a redemption arc, and then he didn't have one. Like, okay, I like the angst and the trauma that he feels responsible for screwing up the tiefling camp because he couldn't protect them properly as, like, a leader. And then he kind of disappears off the face of the earth for a while. Because remember, we saved him in the Nautiloid, whatever that place was. And then I was worried, like, did he get out okay? I guess he did. And then he just shows up at the end to, like, help. And it's like, what? Is that it? Yeah, exactly. He got wind up with no payoff. So definitely meh, because I was expecting more. But I thought he was interesting initially. Up until Dris Do'Urden, they all had to... they had all drow to be automatically evil. Well, yeah, because you have to change it once. If he's good, that's got to break the lore, right? I also don't like... I know they do that for vampires and mind flayers and such, but I really wish it wasn't like a mandatory thing for some of these personality types for like certain races. Because you should be able to have outliers or people that get to choose for themselves what alignment they are. It's kind of a bummer to me that's like, oh, all vampires are just evil. It's like, what? But really? You sure? You can't get at least some of them that kind of work with people or something? I don't know. Zevlor's basically there for tie-in to tabletop adventure Descent into Avernus. Is he actually connected to D&D continuity more than here? Is he like an actual D&D character, like in other things? I didn't know that. If you don't know why Zariel fell or whatnot, he loses his significance. Oh. I didn't know that. Well, okay, that definitely affects why, then, I guess. Oh, Kaga. She's not dead, but... God damn it. I wish I had killed her. Because it's not a whoops, you're dead. I guess out of sheer technicality, because I didn't kill her, she's actively annoying. I should have killed her. I feel like she just got away with it. She did a heel turn so fast after we destroyed the Shadow Druids, and she's like, oh, I guess I was wrong. And then tried to go on our side. And then Halsin was like, fuck you, get out of here. I'm not letting you be leader anymore. And then she just never existed ever again. I am definitely killing her next time, though. Hell Riders are a major thing in that adventure. Oh, yeah, because he is a Hell Rider, right? Well, Arabella is an actual whoops, you're dead. I didn't mean to, which I always have to tell people. And she didn't die from the snake, which apparently is where if people do get her killed, that's usually where she gets killed. Kaga's fucking snake just biting her, poisoning her to death. She was in too much of a hurry to save her parents. I said I was going to help them when I had time. She didn't like that, and she ran off and tried to do it herself anyway, and she got killed. It's not my fault. It's not my kid. So I would have helped her. My friend killed Zevlor and Maul in our... Well, can you kill kids, like, actively? I think I tried to kill Maul when she pissed me off in Nine Fingers' establishment or whatever, but it didn't let me do that. She just ran away. She didn't realize they were in the Mind Flayer pods. Oh! Yeah, Maul's in a pod? Or was it maybe a different kid? There are a bunch of kids that look like other kids, because it seems like they only have a limited number of, like, face models for the kids. She has such a goofy hairstyle. Arabella. Oh, you talking about Kaga? This is a weird hairstyle. Her only eye patch to be found in the Mind Flayer colony. I did find it, But the thing is, when you find it, she's already out, right? Which is why you'd find the patch. I don't know, maybe they changed something at some point with one of the patches about Maul's patch. Mattis is annoying. Almost meh, but annoying. Because this is the one that always has, like, trying to pull a fast one on me. It's like, kid, I know that you sell junk that you're trying to make seem like actual stuff. You're not tricking me. Stop trying to trick me. Stop trying to pick my pockets. Stop it. I mean, funny, but annoying. I'm sorry. Maul became really annoying. Maul started getting too... is Maul a girl? Has like a girl voice. She really thinks she's gonna do something. She's just a kid. I guess maybe she has some kid network or something, but it's like she was puffing herself out way... like, so she pissed me off when I got her contract from the Hells. And I thought I was doing her a favor saying, here's a contract, Raphael's dead. And she's like, fuck you, I had to deal with Raphael. He was gonna make me the best, you know, thief or whatever ever. And I was like, kid, do you not understand how screwed you get when you make a deal with the devil? Have you not paid attention to all these other people around you that have gotten screwed? Never trust a hag, never trust a devil. She didn't care though, she just got really pissy. And that's when I tried to kill her because I was really mad. But yeah, fuck her. She needs some like hard reality hit. Just because she survived the Nautiloid thing is like, so what? You're not invulnerable. I feel bad for her because Raphael is really creepy towards her when you talk to him. Really? I guess I didn't see that cutscene. Because he's dead. I gave her the contract but didn't mention Raphael's death. Well, what happened is I got pissed. I tried to attack her. Everybody in the Nine Fingers place attacked me. And then I was like, well, I have to reload. And then when I reloaded, I think I just avoided telling her stuff because I was like, I don't want to deal with this again. But in my head, I knew. You better not hope for anything from your patron, kid. Your patron is like dust in the wind. Damon. I like Damon. I wouldn't say he's a solid character because he doesn't do anything, but he's definitely a plus, like, positive okay. I was always hoping that they would maybe make him like a romance interest for Karlach because they seem to get along very well. Yeah, he's cute, he's kind, he's helpful. But he's kind of just there and then he's gone a lot. We see him in 2 different spots and then he doesn't matter. Oh, and I guess we see him at the end. Yeah, I'm happy to see him. I just wish there was more for him to do. It feels like maybe he could be expanded on, potentially. Like, maybe they could bring him back into the mix whenever they find more information about that forge from the epilogue, perhaps. I would love to have a romance option. There's one later that I'm going to mention as a possible romance option that I would want, but I know everybody's going to be like, why? But Damon actually would be good as well. His overpriced armor sets. He works hard. Infernal metal isn't cheap. I support hardworking. He's basically like an Etsy person. Like, I support his Etsy. Buy his armor. I'll steal everybody else's shit, but I'll pay him money. Yeah. Alfira's also okay. I like her. She sings terribly, but I like her. I'm so catty too, because it's like I was a bard, so as a bard I was ripping her apart, going like, lady, like, have some more confidence, just sing from the diaphragm. Like, you could do better. But I was always friendly in general towards her, so she was fine. She certainly seemed to pop up everywhere I was, so I was kind of impressed that she, you know, for a bard that doesn't seem to do anything, she survived all the way to the end, which is great. I would like him as a romance. Oh, Damon, yeah. In my recent playthrough, he had 0 approval with Astarion at this point because I kept robbing him. Oh. Poor Astarion. I got Astarion in trouble so often. There was one area where he was actually flagged as like a trouble target. I forgot what the hell it's called. Where it's like people actively like try to get him. And I can't remember how I got rid of that. I think we literally changed acts and it just went away. I made him do the worst things, but I mean, he's the best person to do them. There was dialogue cut in Karlach's origin playthrough that pretty much confirmed that there was some mutual feeling between Karlach and Damon. Ah, why'd they cut it? Oh well. Maybe they'll bring it back in some capacity. Oh, okay. Here's the one I said I wanted as a romance. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a solid character. He is okay. And what's funny is initially when we first see him in the Tiefling camp, he's very confident and kind and like friendly and stuff. He's like, hey, yeah, you know, I don't know why. He's kind of cute in a weird way. I don't understand myself. A good older brother, always looking out for his siblings. Initially, I was a little put off because he really was, when we were talking about puffing out our chests like Maul and these other people, he was doing the same because he was like, I'm going to be the greatest wizard there ever was. And I'm side-eyeing him to Gale going like, is this guy actually any good? Because Gale would know, right? Oh yeah, Arabella accidentally died. I didn't kill her. She died in the Shadow Cursed lands because she couldn't wait for me to save her parents. And her parents are already dead, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're talking about Roland. I wish Roland, he is a wizard. All the wizards have, I think the requirement is a little bit of ego to be a wizard, honestly. Well, he's pompous and proud initially. He gets knocked down many pegs. After, like during Act 2. And I think that's the time I actually kind of felt bad for him. Remember, initially, I was like, what the fuck? Because he's angry at us in the pub at the Last Light Inn. But it's not like he's angry at us. It's angry because he feels essentially impotent. You know, or not impotent. Wrong choice of words. Powerless. Because he wanted to protect everybody. When push came to shove, he did not have the magical aptitude to, you know, save everyone in a very perilous situation. He didn't know where his siblings were. And he was at, like, rock bottom. So I gave him a pass for being mad at me, because it's like, of course he's going to lash out at me, who is doing everything right, and is very successful, and is just killing everything I come across. But I was glad I saved him, because I almost didn't... I randomly bumped into him in the Shadowlands. Or Shadow Cursed Lands, sorry. And, you know, we saved the siblings, we got everything fine. I thought that would be the last we saw of him. And then he popped up again in the Sorcerer's... What's that place? I was going to call it the Sorcerer's Supreme Dome, because it looks like a big round building. And holy shit, like, the hits just kept on coming to him, because, okay... Things seemed like they were looking up. He had his siblings. They got out of the Shadow Cursed lands. Maybe he could actually still learn under a mentor to be a successful wizard. Loroacon happened. And I don't know what the fuck happened to this dude, but at the very least, he was beat the fuck up constantly by this asshole. He was abused by the guy. He wasn't taught nearly anything correctly. Like, they almost did it in such a way where it seemed like Loroacon was trying to see if he could kill him every time he was, like, teaching him shit. And he was just in the worst way, that I felt really bad for him. So I was very happy that we fixed that situation for him. And ironically, once Roland has access to all those materials and is not under somebody's fucking fist, you know, and is able to learn unabated, like... He seemed happy, and he was actually developing decently well as a wizard. Or maybe sorcerer. I don't know which one he was actually trying to become. But I liked him a lot after that. Loroacon has such an inferiority complex. It's obvious Roland is much... Yeah, so Roland, even though he's no Gale, had some spark of ability. And it just needed to be nurtured. And he went through such hardships. And I'm very happy he got to the point towards the end where he was actually finally able to do something with it. And I feel like, in a fucked up way, him being humbled by all the awful things that happened to him made him a little bit better at the end. He was just happy to help, you know? And I would love... That feels... So, coming along, that long explanation... Coming around to explaining why I would like him as a romance character is, from that whole description, that feels like there's a possible really good character arc in there for having somebody like my character, kind of similar to what happened with Astarion. You take somebody and you help them see the best of themselves, and they become a better person and a better partner, you know, because they also probably want to give back for all the things that you did for them. So I could very easily see a good relationship with Roland, if ever one such existed. Apparently, if you kill him and talk to his body, you find out he's an orphan that was adopted into Cal and Leah's family. Oh man. So that explains even more about why he would be so desperate to to do right by his family, right? Okay, I like Roland. Not quite solid character, but he's close. Strange Ox is actually dead. It's a whoops, you're dead moment. Okay, I can see why you'd like to see a romance option. Yeah, I see potential in Roland, which is why I like those kind of characters that are kind of like, yeah, because he attacked me. I was like, there's something creepy about this strange ox, and he didn't like the fact that I kind of figured out that it was like a blob or something, and then it attacked me, and all the other oxen just kind of like went off to the side. If you do speak with the dead on Aunt Ethel, I never thought about doing it to her. Probably because I also didn't know if she was ever fully dead or not. I should have done that. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, and you make a good argument, well reasoned and thought out, wrong but very release. Look, not everybody has to agree. That's fine. Believe me, I've had my fill of needing to have my own opinion on stuff from BioWare romances, believe me. Need to take notes for when I finally do. Well, here's the thing, Blue. All these things could be drastically different depending on how you do your playthrough, which is the great part. Not everybody necessarily turns out the same way, depending on what you do. He's those NPCs that you meet in all 3 playthroughs. Roland? I mean, you'll meet him. It's just like, you might not meet him again, depending on if he doesn't make it all the way to the end. Saza is dead. I know there's some people that actually wanted to romance her. I don't really particularly care about her. I also got super irritated that when I did talk to Minthara, initially Saza was trying to sell us out. So I was like, okay, you are incredibly expendable. You have 8 hit points. I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you're dead. So, I found out that you could arcane lock the stair behind the fireplace and kill her because she couldn't run away. Oh, the hag? Really? That's right, she takes off. I'm gonna have to try that. Because if she's just in that room, I could just destroy her. She doesn't have like a pit and all those other things to deal with. I'm gonna have to do that. Bark is okay. I don't find him annoying. I'm glad I saved him from a windmill. But not much to say about him. I also screwed up because apparently he could join your camp for a bit or something. But, so I saved him from the Dwerger in the Grimforge, but I didn't realize you have to talk to him again? This is a very specific thing to have to do. So since I didn't talk to him again, he didn't come back to talk to me or whatever. So that's kind of lame. Like, a small mistake I made meant that he just disappeared from my game. So, whatever. Floric is also kind of meh. At least she helped out. She's another one of those characters that acted like she was hot shit, but she, unlike Roland, she's kind of not. She got put in a fucking prison, like a chump. She's not that impressive to me. I mean, yeah, I guess she's useful as another piece on the playing board, but it's fine. Ethel is whoops, you're dead multiple times. Definitely multiple times you're dead. She's kind of weird in that I always wondered, because you see so many examples of her fucking up, or not, her purposely doing those fucked up, like, this is what you asked for, right? Deals with people, that I couldn't trust anything that she offered to me. I can't remember. I think I might have experimented to see what would happen if you took the eye from her, but it's a terrible eye. It's not like Volo's eye, which is actually very useful. So I didn't take her eye, and then I didn't want to do a deal with her because she proves that she's not trustworthy anyway. Anybody that's not trustworthy gets no deal from me. That same goes with Raphael. No deal. So I was happy to kill her. I will never take her eye. It's awful. It's awful. Did Fleur confront you when you broke Will's deal? Did she? I don't think she did. I don't think she did. She just confronted me later about saying they wanted to like take back the city or something like that. You know, like saying like we'll be support, and then disappeared because they wanted me to save Ravengard, which I did. Marina is not dead. She was actively annoying. No, she's still actively annoying. I was gonna say when we saw her at the hag group, she was less annoying because she finally grew up a little bit, but that doesn't outweigh the more annoying time when I was trying to save her ass. She grew up at the end. That's fine. I'm glad she did it later, but she wanted the worst. Like, she just would not understand that the hag would not give her what she asked for. She really wanted her husband brought back and did not understand that that was never going to happen. So I gave her husband back for whatever good that did. He was still there in Act 3, so I hope she didn't try to do anything with him. She had another kid, though, didn't she? So... oh, no, that was the same kid. Never mind. I was gonna say, like, did they do it again for a kid? But no, it's the same kid. I like the idea of evil fae shenanigans in my fantasy stuff, but then I get really mad at the BS. In theory, it's fun. When it's happening to you, it's very not fun. Like, I like in Critical Role, I like, what's that archfey that they deal with? It's got, like, blazing red hair. Artigan, or whatever his name is. He's kind of fun. But I know, yeah. But I know if I was dealing with him, I'd be like, fuck this. No, thank you. It's funny to watch the crew go through that, not me. Yeah, the Traveler. Well, not everybody would know necessarily that as the Traveler, but yeah, definitely the Traveler. Hopefully she doesn't die from writing a book about how to beat hags in the epilogue. Oh, yeah, yeah, maybe if the other hags realize she's writing that and track her down, that could be bad. Nier is very dead. I hate killing a fellow drow, but he was insufferable. Apparently, somebody was saying there's a way you can convince him to just, like be a good guy. Not a good guy, but to, like, stop following the Absolute, but I did not give him that chance. He's typical snooty-sounding voice, and he irritated me. Plus, no matter what he did, he always shoved that one gnome into the lava. And I couldn't do anything to stop him. I think literally when people tried to bug it so that they kill him first, she still just disappears, so she's just doomed to die. So that irritated me. So whoops, you're dead for him. I like Omaloom, so he gets an okay. The only good Mind Flayer in this whole goddamn game. Why he couldn't have been the one that was the Mind Flayer at the very end with the gems, I don't know. That would have been the best choice, but the game said no. So, sorry, Orpheus. Yeah, I liked him. I liked how he had a different outlook than literally every other Mind Flayer out there. He was kind of our friend, really. We saved him from the Iron Throne. Everything's all gravy with Omaloom. I like him. Glut is dead. This ambitious, Mushroom Man? I was fine with him until he wanted to kill the other Mushroom Man leader. And I was like, no, you're dead. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. If you're going to keep trying to do that, you can't be alive. Olum and Blurg are also from another D&D wrap-up. Oh, are they? So maybe that's why he's kind of a different Mind Flayer. I wanted dialogue for a drow female just for Nair. He talks to you like you're beneath him, which is totally out of character. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because we were talking about that earlier, where I haven't seen in this game instances of the female superiority aspect of the Drow. I've done 3 playthroughs, still keep killing Omalum or getting him killed by accident somehow. What? How? If you're pickpocketing him and he gets mad, maybe? Bernard is not dead, but is this kind of a meh? This is Bernard. I was smart enough, apparently, to read all the books near this robot to tell it what it wants to hear as its passphrases, and it left me alone. End of story. Nothing else to say. Voss is okay. No, he's kind of meh. He's not actively annoying. I would say he's meh because initially he seems like he's going to be such a badass, and then he just doesn't do shit. We have to do everything for him. We gotta continue his plans. He just sits around with his fucking dragon buddy. It's like, what are you doing, dude? You can do anything. Ugh. The female... Oh, wait, we read that. It happens with that drow who's petrified in the Underdark if you're playing a drow female. So they did it for one of them, but just not the rest. Maybe that feels like something that they could expand on with future patches, I guess. Bernard is a good example of environmental storytelling. The whole Arcane Tower is somber. There's a lot of interesting little clues in the Arcane Tower. There's also that really weird one about the dog collar with the window that overlooks a grave, which was the dog's grave. It's a bit, definitely environmental storytelling there, because nobody explains it to you. You have to figure it out for yourself. So that was cool. Voss is protecting you super hard, to be honest. Well, I guess. But I mean, he needs us, though, which was kind of where the meh came from. You can wear it? I think I did wear it to get the thing to dispense me food, but it only did it like once. Is he fighting off Githyank? I guess we didn't... my brain is like, I didn't see it, therefore it doesn't exist. Alright, he's okay. I'm not going to make him a solid character, I'll tell you that. I'll bargain and say that he's okay if he really was helping us, but he was so dependent on us other than that. It's kind of interesting they gave him that mysterious face disfigurement. Did he get it from the events of the game? No, he has it even when you see him on the bridge in Act 1, right? Because he's already fucked up. I'm sure there's some story there. There always is. Oh, Vlaakith. I would like to say whoops, you're dead, but I mean, she is undead, right? So maybe. She's actively annoying, though. Very actively annoying. I like the promise that they have in the game where she's on borrowed time now. She thought that she was going to rule forever with nobody to challenge her, but in some way or the other, she's going to go down. It's just a matter of when. His ears cut off when you meet him in Act 3. Oh, so it's not cut off in Act 1? I can't remember. So something did go down. That's interesting. Boss, I'd pretty much old enough to have lived through Orpheus'... Well, because didn't he actually know him? They kind of, at least in my playthrough, when they talked to each other, it seemed like they kind of... Either Orpheus knew about him or vice versa or something. Like he was around long enough for that. Ah, Raphael, you dead! Whoops, you're dead! I gotta say, probably one of the more satisfying big boss deaths, though. This dude thought he had it all until he had none of it. Yeah, so... I mean, this is another character similar to maybe, I'm assuming, Gortash, where we could have done a deal with him, but he's so slimy. I knew that it would be a bad idea to do any kind of deal with him. Like, it's gonna hurt me in the long run, so I just fucking killed him. I do like how he had his own theme song during the fight with him, which is very extra, but very in character for him. I guess I feel like there would have been more there with him. It feels like, could he have been a potential tease as a romance interest? He has such a scandalous, like, sexy vibe that I'm surprised that he never tried to, like, seduce us or woo us or, like, maybe become interested in us because of our many deeds or something. He just always only thought of us as like a means to an end, or like to try to use us for something, which is a little disappointing and slightly one-dimensional. I would have thought like almost similar to like an evil Astarion kind of thing. Like maybe at some point he would be impressed enough with us to like be attracted potentially to us. Maybe if that does happen, it just didn't happen in my playthrough. But that would be really funny if it's like, hey, a demon likes you enough to maybe do something with you. Some people really buy into Raphael's whole deal. It's kind of interesting. I almost initially, because I was like, what is this guy trying to do? Could he be interesting? And then he just kind of fell into the same trap of like, it's just way too obvious that everything he does is suiting his own ends. He can't even pretend to make it seem like it really benefits us. It's why Raphael prefers order. Chaos is too predictable. Well, you'd think, well, maybe with us being orderly and achieving all these missions and goals, like he'd be into that, but I guess not. If you meet the right person, you find out that Raphael only likes to have sex with himself, and that's... Well, we bump into a certain guy, which I wonder if he's on this list here. He is. We'll talk about him. Yeah. I got accused of being spoilery today in a stream because his theme song didn't play during the fight, and I said, a song is supposed to play when Raphael's voice actor sings. Oh, whoops. I mean, that is technically a spoiler, but it's not really like a story spoiler. I think with me... The first time I engaged a battle with him, it didn't kick in, but I had to... I can't remember. I had to reload it for some reason, and then it did the second time. But yeah, you did. Mizora, actively annoying. I know some people really like her. I'm sorry. She's another one like Raphael. I think the problem is I expected more out of her. Maybe that's why it's effective that she's actively annoying. She just keeps fucking around with Will. Like, it feels like she's some... Not tsundere, but like, she's like one of those characters that doesn't want to admit that they like somebody. I feel like at some point, like, she actually likes Will. Like, and she's just doing all this nonsense to him to force him to stay around her longer, you know? Like, she'd actually be really bummed out. Not just because of losing power, but like that he's not there, you know? I would love it if that ended up being actual. But she is kind of annoying. Well, you know what? She's okay. You know what? I'll change my mind. She kept things interesting. I'll give her that. And she's not dead, so I can't put her where Raphael is. Like, I feel like she's one of those people, because we saved her ass in the Nautiloid shit, and she acknowledges, you know, some things like... She has to admit that we're useful and we're cool and whatever, but she always has to backpedal periodically to seem like, hey, but I still come out on top. I'm still the cool one, you know. Flip her hair or whatever. Some people hate being told anything about the game, even if it's a bug. It's true. I will allow certain things, but there's been a couple times where I'm like, don't do that. I don't care if somebody's trying to help, because even in the trying to help, you're essentially removing that experience. Like, I get that you're trying to help, but like when you remove an experience that I would have enjoyed, that's where I don't appreciate it. Now, if it's just something about like speccing something a certain way, or like I don't know, like something that's not narrative, usually I let those slide, and once in a while, you know, they're actually useful. But if somebody is trying to make me spec a thing the way they want it, I'm not doing that. And I'll probably start ignoring that person. So just as a heads up. Mizora's just here for the lulz. She is. It's like the girl at elementary school yard that punches the kid she likes. Yes! But it's dangerous when she punches the kids. So I don't know. I feel like if they ever expand on these guys, like maybe she could get something interesting, or maybe she'll admit something interesting someday. Who knows? Elminster is a meh. He's not actively annoying because he's like not even there, but he's also meh because it's like he could have been more of a figure, and he's just kind of not really there. He's there so that we know that Gale knows other wizards pretty clearly, and my understanding is he is in the other Baldur's Gates or in D&D in general or something like that. So yeah, he's just there to tie into D&D. That's kind of what I figured. Because we came across so many books that were talking about Elminster this, Elminster that. So it's like even I, a meager bard, understands that Elminster's pretty important. He's the most powerful wizard ever. Well, he sure just loves to eat. He appears, he's like, "Can you give me this full array of food in your camp?" And like, then Gale is like, "God damn it, Elminster." So that part was funny. And it's also kind of a bummer that he's just basically there to do Mistra's bidding. I mean, it makes sense because she is a goddess of magic and he's a big magic guy. But it's also kind of like, he doesn't even try to buck that at all. He just goes, "Well, it is what it is. Gale's just doomed to die. Oh well, what a shame." So that kind of irritated me, but you know, he's so tied into all that. Of course he's gonna just kneel to the magic goddess. Isabel... Eh? Well, she's okay. She's important to the story, so I'll give her that. But she also, similar to some other characters we've talked about, has a massive drop-off point. Where it's like, as soon as Act 2 is done, it's like, nobody cares. She hangs out at our camp for a while. It's like, why are you here? Get out of here. She's got the permanently crying makeup on for some reason. Like, just wipe your face. Wash your face. Maybe that'll make you feel better. I guess she is technically... Is she not? She's not actually undead. She was legitimately brought back to life, right? So, there's that. She's interesting almost only because she's tied into so many other things, like Dame Aelin, her father, mysterious situations prior that apparently used to include Halsin. So she's like tertially related to all these other things, which, you know, it helps make her interesting. But she's just like, she's okay. She's fine. Oh, this guy's dead. Karnas is dead. The only Drider we ever came across. I actually felt kind of guilty that this guy died. I did the fucked up thing where I guess maybe most people just straight up fight him or something. I rolled correctly and I convinced him that I spoke for the Absolute and made him give me his lantern and told him that the Absolute would protect him if he just walked off into the Shadow Curse lands on his own. And he forced himself and his little teammates, goblins, or orcs or whatever, to all walk into there, and then they became shadow cursed, and then we did kill him later. And that was the thing. His eyes really creep me the fuck out. I have that thing where, you know, if you see like little, what is the thing that they always do? When people show pictures of like lotus pods that have the little dots in them, his eyes give me that same creepy, uneasy feeling. I don't like looking at them. It icks me out. So I couldn't look at him too often, so I'm glad we didn't really talk with him very much. Because I was like, ah! Even looking, just the still image of him is making me think about that. It's like, ah! Don't like it. But I'm sorry he's dead. Kind of sorry. That's my favorite way to go about dealing with Karnas. Oh, to make him walk off? There are people who want to romance him? Of course there are. Look, if people get down on me for wanting to romance Roland, I'm not surprised there's somebody wanting to romance Karnas. You know, there's all kinds here. Zrel is super dead. She was kind of annoying. I would have put her as actively annoying if she wasn't dead. Just totally bought into the whole Absolute thing. She was totally into her power that she got from the tadpole because she reveled in it. So it was satisfying to kill her. Kind of one of the few orc characters, though, that we see. We don't really see a lot of them that are important to the story. So it was notable that she was there, but I did flirt with her. I can't remember. I might have tried. I always try to do those things if I can help it, because I want to see what happens. Not that I actually legitimately wanted to flirt with her. But Zrel is another people wanted to romance. Of course, but this one at least kind of makes sense, because she seems kind of into it up to a point, right? If you buy into the whole Absolute thing that she's selling. Yeah. Oh, good. We're almost there. Ketheric is super dead. I mean, he was dead, and then he got extra dead. So I do think he's interesting. I also feel like this dude loved his family maybe a little too much. Because it made him into a super evil entity. Because his wife and his daughter died. He just screwed over an entire region, potentially the entire world, if he had his way. And for what? I'm not even sure what his end goal was. Because he didn't seem happy doing what he was doing. Out of the three of them, it's like he had the most regret. But also, he was the most, like, cut off from really coming to terms with all the shit that he did. Like, we got through to him a couple times with persuasion checks saying, like, it's not too late. You know, trying to do, like, the Luke and Vader thing. Like, you could still come back. It's not too late. But even at the very end, even when I succeeded one of those checks, like, he basically just pulled a Saren from Mass Effect and, like, dumped himself into a pit so I didn't have to fight him. So, I don't know. I love J.K. Simmons' voice. I'm glad that they picked him for that. So I think it's a perfect fit. But I also feel like dude was kind of a chump at the very end once you remove the stuff that was keeping him so powerful. Just an old, sad old man, you know? Sad, rageful old man. He's the only American in the world. Is he? Yeah, I guess you're right. That's why he's sad. His daughter even has an accent. I didn't think about that. Wish we could make half-orcs that look closer to her, but the faces just don't look that good. Yeah, it's just screaming for a mod, I guess, right? Because even my character's face was a mod face, because I didn't like the available ones. Not that I didn't like them, I just thought they looked too similar to everybody else's face. Oh, Wilburn is fucking dead. This asshole. I've been told that if Barkus is alive, maybe that tempers Wilburn a little bit. I don't know to what degree. This little chump. He always thought he was in control. Never actually was. Yeah, him being an angry little bucket. I busted my ass saving all those Gondians from the Steel Watch. And what does he want to do? Kill them all? No. And not even for any good reason. I think didn't I even make a persuasion check on him and he still got all bent out of shape about it? There's no pleasing this guy. I didn't even need his stupid explosive to blow up the Steel Watch because I had already gotten one from, what's her face? That other gnome in the Grimforge. So it's like, he always thought he was far more important than he actually was. I was fine to live and let live with him if he had just walked away, and he refused to walk away. So I made it so he couldn't walk away. Balthazar, similarly, that was fun. Balthazar was real fun. Balthazar thought he was really going to do something, because I talked to him initially to get close, and he thought we were going to do some deal, because he thought I was part of the Absolute, because Tadpole and all the other stuff. And then once we finished the conversation, I just calmly and quietly laid out a bunch of smoke powder barrels around him. Had Gale set them off with a fireball, and no more Balthazar. The undead he liked so much, and he couldn't even be that. Killing him early. I'm curious, no spoilers please. I'm assuming he becomes far more annoying if you don't, like, kill him there. But, wow, him and Emperor, I probably made the shortest work of. Well, him intentionally. Emperor was very unintentional that he super died. It doesn't temper him. I cannot stand him more if Barkus is around. I should have thrown him into the Shadow Curse Lance. Yeah, Wilburn sucks. Balthazar's a great villain. He did some awful stuff to his brother there. Made him into that big, gross monster, so I had to kill him too. And then for some reason I carried that bell or that horn or whatever around and never did anything. I really need to be better with my inventory. I had his brother's bell for like forever. It's like, why did I have this? I can't even use it. Make sure to have plenty of barrels. Oh, no. Blue. Don't, you might not even want to do it the way I did it. I love collecting smoke powder barrels because they are the most chaotic way of dealing with problems in this game. But there's also a very limited number that you can get, like, in the entire game. So I even by the end, I still had too many. I went to that fireworks place and I stole like 20 barrels, and then I was waiting for the moment where I just set them all off, and now that I think about it, I didn't do that. So whoops. Yrgir was a real one. He was not actively annoying. He was actually, I'm not going to say he was okay, because he wasn't around he wasn't around long enough for that to happen, but he was okay. He actually was the one responsible for killing the Emperor. So you at least are not actively annoying. What's funny is I did not talk to him first because I totally assumed that he was going to attack me on sight, which I guess apparently he would not have in Act 2, right? So I killed him. He respected the fact that I easily killed him, kind of became an ally, and then actually became a real one in the very last battle. So that was kind of funny. Dame Aelin was kind of meh. I'll be real. She was really cool initially, and as somebody said earlier in the chat, kind of became meh. Like, for somebody who, in the cutscenes, was such an ass kicker, when you use her, she sucks. Or not sucks, but like, there's other characters that kick ass more somehow. It's like they nerfed her. And also, okay, I get a little tired of, like, she's just the very, like, paladin, like, we'll bring justice to this and that and whatever. So she actually comes across as kind of surprisingly one note to me. But she's alright. I will say she's not actively annoying. She just had that one moment and then just kind of dropped off for me. Imagine if you had to listen to the same irritating song in your head for 100 years because some jerk tricked you. Wait, who has to do that? Yrgir? Was that what Raphael did to him? Constantly having to listen to his Raphael's song? Because that's pretty funny. So she's alright. She had a great entry. That's about it. Thaniel, actively annoying. Or wait, is the other kid here? Well, they're the same kid. The stupid hide-and-go-seek shit was annoying from the other kid. I'll just consider them the same kid. Also, little kid spirit, kind of creepy. If I'm real. He had this little, like, tiny little voice that makes him seem creepy and not like a cute kid. Just like a creepy kid. So I don't like Thaniel. I'm not going to hate on Halsin because he was friends with Thaniel, but it's like, what the fuck is Thaniel doing for anybody? It's useless. I know he was, like, split apart, but still. Get useful, please. My friend played a wild mage sorcerer and accidentally set off a fireball on Aelin where she cast Speak with Animals. Aelin proceeded to wreck her day. Oh no. Yeah, that's no good. I feel like Aelin got nerfed so we can shine. She's a semi-immortal demigoddess, so that's the thing. I was expecting, you know, as an Aasimar or whatever, I thought she was super gonna kick ass. Because her appearance initially seems really cool. Like when she gets her wings, it's like, okay, things are going down now. And then after Act 2, it's like, you just don't do anything. Disappointing. He who was... This guy super died. I trolled this dude so hard. He's such an asshole, because, like, he just wanted to see people be hurt, right? He was doing it under the guise of justice, but he just was a sadist. He clearly enjoyed people, like, in suffering and pain for what they did. I enjoyed because he was the vessel for that lady's spirit to admit her crimes. I had her stab herself, which just pretty much meant he was stabbing himself, and he was like, ow, stop it, stop making me do that. So that ruined his day, which is great. And then I killed him and his stupid white raven. So there's that. Oh, Gortash is super dead. Gortash is also dead. Let's see maybe if there's anything I can do about that in the Dark Urge run. If maybe I could make a deal with him or something. I'm curious to see, like, what else he does. Every book and note and everything in Baldur's Gate I kept picking up was some little tidbit about him scheming or making a deal with somebody to get what he wanted. So this dude had ambitions. I will say that. Unfortunately, he looks like some Hot Topic emo Tim Burton. So I don't know. I know there are people that find him attractive. I do not. He looks like some reject, like, Final Fantasy boss or something. But, I mean, he's voiced by Jason Isaacs, who I like a lot, but I still find one of the funniest moments when I used telekinesis and yeeted him towards me, so it was away from all his traps, and I just pummeled the shit out of him easily for 2 turns. That was great. He's subbing in for Green Day. But he doesn't even look like the Green Day guy, does he? Well, maybe he does, a little bit. Oh, Orin is also very dead. She is also actively annoying. She is like both of these, if I can just say that. Yeah, I like the voice, but I hate looking at him. Ridiculous character. I don't spoil me. I am actively curious how different she's going to be when I'm a Dark Urge character, because, you know, if we all love killing, do we get along? Who knows? She's just so purposely weird. Even her fucking grandfather, whatever, Saravok, whatever, had more sense than she does. Maybe because she's an incest baby? I don't know. That was disgusting to read about in one of those tomes. But she's nuts. She is like the super ballist person. Like, all these other people say they serve ball. She really fucking does it. And she loves doing it, to the point that she leaves these horrible little notes everywhere. She also loves being hella theatrical and just like pretending to be people all the way up until it doesn't make sense that she's still pretending to be that person. She reveals herself like, I knew it was you. You didn't really get me with that one. There's so many people thirsty for her, I'm sure. There was some other video I was watching where it's like, Orin, you can't fix her. It's like people probably think they can do all kinds of stuff with her. Orin was annoying, but on my would list. I'm not surprised. She's actually performed and acted by the same lady that does the big lady from Resident Evil 8. I forgot what her name is. So that is probably why everybody likes her. Big lady. Yeah, she's super dead. Yenna is meh. She's just not, I mean, I don't dislike her, but she's also just kind of there. She apparently cooks food for the camp, but would charge me to do it. She has a cute little scaredy cat. And that's about it about Yenna. Fix her? Heavens no, she's not just broken, she's missing crucial components. Yeah, she's missing some, alright. Valeria is actively annoying. This fucking... I almost wish we could just have this stupid elephant be dead, but I needed them to be alive to work out the whole murder mystery shit. So that had to happen. This thing clearly thinks it's cooler than it is. There was that part near the final battle where it said something like, I'm ready for some payback for all that fuckery in the Baal temple. It's like, you're not doing anything. Get real. Flying fucking elephant. Get out of here. Mistress is actively annoying. I'm saying that on behalf of Gale, because what fucking bitch is mad enough about just a mortal messing around in his misguided attempt to do something for her, to put a fucking time bomb in his chest as punishment and saying, the only way I'll forgive you is by having you blow yourself up to make things right. Like, fuck that. What a horrible lady. Like, I had him make nice with her at the end just so he could live. But it's like, I don't like her at all. She definitely got exactly what she wanted. And when she was being all bent out of shape and sassy, then she uses her god powers to make somebody's life miserable. It's like, I hate gods. Ugh. You love Valeria. Valeria, no. Alright. Leroy Khan is super dead. And it was very satisfying killing this guy super dead, because all the way to the end, he thought he had a one-up on me, just because he had his stupid elementals. And that did not save him. Again, I'm curious, maybe in Dark Urge, I might see if I can deliver Dame Aelin to him and see what happens. Don't tell me what happens. But I'm just curious how... I'll still probably kill him. But I want to see if that scene plays out differently. Okay, but hear me out. His hair is the best. Leroican? I mean, he's got that standard, like, ponytail hair. We've seen that on some other folks. It's not bad. It's a very Pantene, you know, Pro V hair. Is that an old reference? Do people use Pantene anymore? Okay, Keen. He's okay. Yeah, well, no, she's okay. I don't know really how to... She's all right. She's okay. She's skirting the edge here for me, but I guess okay. she's interesting. She's a no-nonsense thieves guild lady, mercenary leader. She was fortunate in that she didn't piss me off enough for me to try to kill her and inevitably her whole group. But she has one of the... They actually seem somewhat self-sufficient and competent, her crew of people, as opposed to the other gang groups like the Zentrum and stuff we've come across that are easily dispatched. So I respect that. She had an organization that was a little better put together than the other ones, so that's fine. Maybe he's born with it, maybe it's Mistraline. Okay, that's a good one. Does Maybelline still do that that phrase? Lorocon looks like store-bought Thandruil. Yeah, but he's not an elf though. Thandruil's an elf, right? But they have this. They actually have the same haircut, actually. Cazador is super dead, and boy, was that satisfying. This dude, I was so disappointed with how Astarion was talking about Cazador. I thought this guy would be so hot. But he looks like a Dunmer elf from Skyrim. Because he's got the weird, like, the super, like, artificially slanted eyes. And, like, super pale, big forehead. I don't know. I was expecting him to look hot. The whole plotline with him was interesting. What he was trying to plan to do. But, oh man, it was satisfying as hell to kill him. He looked even more ridiculous while still in beta. Oh, did he look noticeably different? Yeah, when I got there, I was just floored. You're afraid of this petite twink? Well, I mean... Oh, you mean Roland was afraid? Wait. Are you talking about Lorocon or Cazador? I feel like maybe that could apply to both. Honestly. Although, Astarion has a good reason to be scared of Cazador because he's literally a thrall, right? So, like, he can't physically... Can't he not, like, physically go up against Cazador on his own? Beta version, he has a beard? Oh, no. So even on top of that, it looks even goofier. He had a mustache and goatee. Can't stand Cazador's fight. Cazador's fight, once I understood, I just needed to block each one of those, like, sacrifice things. It's actually okay. I wasn't that bothered by it. It was kind of interesting. And I also had, like... I had 2 summons, a Cambion, and my entire crew. So it's like, we had enough people to make that work, which was really kind of fun. Yeah, so he's dead. Xander is meh. We only saw him once. I thought he sounded... I thought his voice sounded kind of like Baldur from Knights of the Old Republic 2. And he's okay. I mean, he gave us information we needed. He was one of the less incompetent Gondians. But he also didn't really do anything for us, so... Bye, Xander. Baldur is actively annoying to me. Because this dude is just... Because he was the Duke, just everybody is always acting like, oh, Ravengard's so great, blah, blah, blah. Even poor Will always thought, like, the most of his father. Will essentially did a deal with the fucking devil because he wanted to save or help his father. So... I just despise the fact that this dude so flippantly... I mean, yeah, okay, he had a tadpole in his head, so some of that stuff is forgivable. But when he had control of his own mind, the quickness in which he was turning on Will without us intervening and, like, fixing things was so annoying. They buffed the Gondians, by the way, so no more frustration. Well, it's not the Gondians being buffed. Their behavior sucks. So if they fix their AI pathing, where they just keep walking into explosions and stuff, that's good. Or I guess give them more HP to survive doing that. I watched someone talk to him. She was kind of fatigued towards the end of her stream and said, okay, whatever, you talk too much, and stabbed the blind gnome to death. But I don't think he deserved it. Maybe some of the other people, but not him. They stopped Misty stepping into exploding sea watchers. Thank Christ. Because that happens so often. I was busting my ass to try to position everything carefully. And what did they do? Either they thunder wave one another, damaging them, into and out of those things, which also causes the robots to instantly explode, or they Misty step into the radius of the explosion, which is like, why? Oh my god. Okay, so who's left? Vaconia. Oh, she is dead. We're gonna have quite the list of dead people here. Whoops. She deserves so much death. She's the one that was responsible for all this stuff for poor Shadowheart, right? So fuck her. I'm glad she's dead. That was okay. When we were talking about annoying fights from earlier, this was maybe the worst fucking fight. I'm assuming I'm not alone either. Baldur's Gate 2 she was in? Well, I mean, I guess she took a tumble because she was, you know, so evil in this one. That fight was so annoying because there's so many of those Sharans from both sides of that field. And you, what did we end up, the only way that it worked for me is I had to funnel them up the stairs so that they actually grouped together so I could, once again, Gale snuck up behind them with greater invisibility and just kept blasting them with the lightning lane. Holy shit. Because wow, they were annoying as fuck. And then Bone Chill with the darkness. What means like anytime someone went down, it was like, oh god damn it. I can't heal them to get them up. I can't even just help them up. What am I doing here? That was really the hardest fight. I would not... That might be one of the ones that makes me choose not to do a harder difficulty when I do Dark Urge. Because doing that even any harder, I don't know if I would enjoy that at all. But yeah, fuck this lady. She's dead. Saravok is also equally dead. I guess that would be really cool for people that played the original... Was he the bad guy for the first Baldur's Gate? This was actually surprisingly hard fight because of the mechanic of those 3 little add-on people. Maybe the smarter thing to do is to kill him before the add-on people die, if that's possible, but either we were slightly underleveled or something where he was smacking us hard. I was getting whacked real hard. So I think it took me like 3 tries to get him down. But again, Vicious Mockery. Save the day. Both Astarion and my character shitting on him from 2 different... Well, that's... Okay, not literally shitting. Poking fun at him from 2 different directions. That just killed him utterly. So, that was fun. He's got the best helmet. It's an interesting helmet. That's a choice. Yeah, Saravok was a difficult fight. And we had to pull him out of that room to make it easier. So we fought all the way down the hall, that little alley hall, and then out into the bigger room without aggroing the 3, like, undead thingies that were outside waiting, like the guards. Because I did that accidentally once, and I'm like, nope, not doing that. Stocked up on AoE scrolls and had the whole group on crowd control. Yeah, if I wasn't such a pack rat, I probably should have been using scrolls for the Vaconia fight. Ghosts are the annoying part. Yeah, the ghosts are annoying as hell. Hope is... kind of annoying. She's really like hyper excitable, says a lot of crazy shit until you save her. She's okay afterwards. She's useful as hell in the fight and almost kind of a cheat mechanic because of her like divine channeling thing. But I don't know. I saved her because she needed to be saved, but man, I was glad to get out of there. And it's so much better when she wasn't actively crazy. So that's all I'll say about Hope. Harlep is dead. And Harlep is one of the moments I did not like in the game. And for anybody that watched that stream, I spent entirely too long trying to get natural 20s to see if I could get out of the situation that I was in with him. Because that was the one time in the game that I felt that it basically... manhandled and took my character without their consent. Like, yes, you could get out of it by starting a fight, but we've been so used to, up to that point, being able to talk your way out of a lot of things as long as you could roll a certain way. And unless you just kill him in cold blood, you really don't get out of doing the do with him on that bed, and I did not like that. And the character also... My characters did not seem to enjoy it either, which was disturbing to me. Maybe some other people would be like, ooh, sexy situation, and if you like that situation, cool. But my character and I did not, so it was not fun. And I was very frustrated that I couldn't find a better solution other than just like gutting him. I did the do with her. It does. I mean, whether it's a guy or a girl, it kind of doesn't matter to me. It still was not fun in that our agency was removed entirely. I wanted to see, because he looks like Raphael, I wanted to see if there was a way, and he clearly didn't like Raphael. He just had to be there. I kept thinking, if I could just like persuade my way out of this, maybe, you know, like we've done in the past with some characters, actually have a temporary ally to be able to like use him against Raphael. But they just wouldn't do that. Like it just wouldn't go that way. Not looking forward to that part. Yeah, I mean, some people will like it. I didn't like it, and he needed to die. The Emperor's very dead. This asshole. I think somebody was saying earlier maybe they had kind of done different narratives with him initially, or how he was approached was different. I would have been a lot more conflicted about the Emperor if he really meant some of the things that he said. Maybe he believes he meant it, but he didn't really mean it. He was the most sympathetic when I thought he was just a dude that got turned into a mind flayer who just wanted to live his life. I was far less sympathetic when I realized the person I thought he was living his life with was literally his thrall, and that he would just make me one too. It's like, you can't tell me you've been telling me the truth this entire time, where you've been actively manipulating. It's like, it's. I think I said the quote when he was saying this, like, it's like Obi-Wan saying, well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view. Yeah, the fuck's that point of view? It's not the right one. If he'd been on the level with me and hadn't actively been trying to turn me at every single point of the game, like, hey, deal with the fact that I don't want to be a mind flayer. If we can get past that, maybe we can find a middle ground. But he did not want to do that, so whoops, you dead. Thanks to your gears grenades. Orpheus is a dead. I tried to save him. That was unfortunate. But I get it. Once you turned into a mind flayer, it's like you're not really you anymore, apparently. So it just sucks that I didn't want to do it, so he just did it to himself. Since I wouldn't stab him with his fancy dagger. He was okay for the brief amount of time that he was there. He seemed like an honorable guy. Not much else to say. It is kind of a bummer that he didn't survive, because it did sound like he was maybe the one person that actively would be able to take down Vlaakith. Not that the Githyanki weren't still trying to do it, but that would have probably given them a big boost. So them going after Vlaakith is probably delayed a little bit, because you don't have somebody like Orpheus essentially in the other corner. So yeah, he was cool. I mean, he was smart enough to... Yes, he's initially mad at us for being potential mind flayers, but he was smart enough to recognize the situation, and even afterwards clearly respected us because of what we did, and, you know, looked past all that. So he's far better than a lot of the other Githyanki we've come across, if I'm being quite honest. I think he's one of the gifts Mephistopheles gave Raph before he fucked off. Oh, Harlep? Ugh. I was mad on the Emperor because it's always on my good side. There's a scene that icked me out so much. Oh, is that the one where we find out about that Duke? Because that's a bummer. How she was all, like, mind-controlled or whatever. He's on my kill list for sure. Dolly wasn't important enough to make the list. Oh, the fairy? I had forgotten about her until I went to the magical printing press and they mentioned it. I was like, oh, it's another fairy, apparently. Oathbreaker Knight. I don't know what this is. Guess that's there. Maybe it's a Dark Urge thing? I have not come across this character. All right. That's everybody. It took longer than I thought, but there's a lot of people actually on this list. Cool. They show up if you break your paladin oath. Oh, okay. So not a Dark Urge. Okay. Good to know. Because they had the same, like, evil eyes. So when I was looking at these two side by side, I thought maybe. If you're a paladin and you break your oath, the Oathbreaker shows up at your camp and chills next to Withers? Really? So he doesn't outright just try to kill you then. He's just like, hey, you're one of me. Also another Oathbreaker. Ooh. This looks about right. I'm pretty happy with this list. It's a bit bottom loaded. The whoops you're dead part in particular. I'm expecting this to be a larger group for the Dark Urge run. But that's how we have it this time around. I actively tried to break my oath in one of my playthroughs and it never happened. Oh, really? So maybe it's not super easy to break your oath. Alright, so that is Baldur's Gate 3 for now. A lot of fun. As I mentioned, probably, let's see, what's today? The 19th? I don't know how long Final Fantasy VII stuff is going to take, but maybe as early as sometime next month, maybe we'll do the Dark Urge thing. So, I mean, Final Fantasy games are like at least 100 hours, right? So it's probably going to be a couple weeks at least. But we will return to Dark Urge, a Dark Urge playthrough after the Final Fantasy VII stuff is over. So yeah. Oh, you broke the oath in an hour? So is it just like killing people in cold blood or doing bad shit, I guess? I guess it depends on what your oath is, huh? Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed both the discussion and the tier list. As I said, my fine print was that it is a very subjective tier list, so obviously it's not always going to please everybody, but hopefully amongst the categories you see some characters that you side with or agree with, but there it is.